Do you constantly overthink about the man you're dating or talking to or in a relationship with? Isn't it frustrating to feel like he can do one small thing and once you peep it, you send yourself down a spiral so deep you can't possibly pull yourself out of it? Well, what if I told you I can share with you a strategy that will help you not be able to overthink or spiral ever again? If you want to learn what that strategy is, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing how to stop overthinking so men can fall in love with you. That way you can stop feeling so crazy and ruining your romantic relationships because of it. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. How are all you beautiful, beautiful people doing here on today's show? I see some people are donating. Oh my gosh, it's Go Plants, of course, donating here before we even get started. We literally just entered the show on Monday and you already donating. I appreciate you, Go Plants. How are you guys doing on the TikTok stream here? I see we got Andrea here, Bree here, Bellis is here, Lenalik is here, Yo-Yo is here. I see we got Go Plants, of course, the most generous one. Gabriella is here. And, of course, we have our three moderators, Scotty, Sharice, and SH here. Well, at least I see Scotty. I didn't see the other two moderators. Who we got over in our YouTube chat here? I see we got Mary Kim here. We got Justine here, Lena here, Nora here. Irina is here. Melita is here. Blues is here. Cece, one of our amazing channel members, is here. Jazz is here. Minnie is here. Bree. Was Tracy Niles here earlier? I don't know if I saw her here earlier because she's usually always here. One of our amazing channel members. Deb is here. One of our amazing channel members. And of course, we have Missy America holding down our YouTube chat. Okay. Now, I'm using this little bounty paper towel. It's a little bit of a better eraser. Let's hop into our first point of the day here. Today is Monday, so we got a lot to discuss that we missed out on throughout the weekend. Okay, I want us to discuss this because this can be such a horrible, horrible thing that happens in your relationships or your talking stages. And I think it's very important that we all understand how it works and how to prevent it. So, we're going to start off with facts versus feelings. Now, let me draw something out, and then we'll discuss. Okay. So our first point is going to be facts over feelings. Now, what do I mean by facts over feelings? See, here's something very important that I want you to understand. Everything that happens to you in your life, there is a reality, meaning what's actually happening, and there's things that exist outside of your reality, right? So inside of your reality, there are facts. What are facts? Facts are things that are actually happening because you can point to the action taken that means it actually happened. But here's the really confusing part about reality and about facts. See, on the outside of your facts here, right, outside of your reality, there are feelings. And feelings will do something very interesting to you. Feelings can actually skew how you feel about facts, right? And you can start feeling like the way that you feel is so real and so true that it makes it so that what you thought was a fact or what may or may not be a fact is actually a fact because you feel like it's a fact. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that, right? So let's say the fact in this case is that this man you're dating, man did So let's say this is your fact here that's existing inside your reality. This guy that you're dating did not text you back for an entire 2 hours. Now, this is the thing. See, this is the fact here. But this fact here doesn't necessarily mean what you might feel like it means. So, for example, you might experience this and say, oh my gosh, this guy, he hasn't messaged me for a whole 2 hours. He's probably on a date with another girl. He's probably sitting down there looking into her eyes, or she's over at his place. His phone is on Do Not Disturb. It's face down, and he's sleeping with her right now as we speak, which is why he's not answering my texts and why he hasn't answered my calls and why he's gone ghost for the past 2 hours. See, that isn't facts. Those are feelings. But see, when the feelings become so prevalent and so strong and so intense, they actually permeate, right? What you feel like is actually true. But here's the thing that you have to recognize. Just because you feel like something might be true, it doesn't necessarily mean it exists factually in reality. Now, why is this an important distinction to understand as it relates to your relationships and it relates to men? See, you can make the mistake of feeling very intensely about something and accusing a man of doing something that he hasn't necessarily done. But the problem is, once you start accusing him of doing things that he hasn't actually done, or facts that haven't actually transpired, you come across in a very unattractive version of yourself. See, we want you to embody very unbothered energy. We want you to be in a state where the only time you react or take action on things is when you see them actually happening, not just because your mind is going particular places and it's spiraling out of control. What you want to understand about feelings versus facts that are happening in reality is that your feelings are actually, I don't have any space to write it here, but your feelings are a compilation of all of your different experiences, okay? So I'll even put it down here if we can all see this. Your feelings Did I spell this right? I think I spelled it wrong. Let me spell it correctly. Experiences, right? Anyways, all right, chat. So your feelings equal your experiences, the things that you've experienced in life, the things that you've experienced in your relationships, the traumas that you've had as a child when you were young, right? All of these things that happen in the process of you growing as a human being and evolving as a human being, this is what can permeate your feelings at a particular time, or the triggers at a particular time, which we're going to discuss triggers in a little bit. And you have to understand that just because something makes you feel a particular way, that doesn't mean that this fact is necessarily what you think it is or what you think it means, right? And in this example, the feeling that this guy might be cheating on me because he hasn't answered my messages in 2 hours isn't necessarily true. It's just a feeling. Now, your feeling is valid because it probably comes from a place of the traumas that you've experienced in your past relationships or your past talking stages. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to allow those traumas to transfer themselves into all of your new relationships, into all of your new talking stages, that you end up scaring away a lot of guys simply because you're overthinking. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Someone says, what about 18 hours? The same thing still applies, right? We don't necessarily know what he was doing for those 18 hours. So let's get to understanding how to stop overthinking and how to deal with the situation, whether he's been not messaging you for 2 hours, for 18 hours, or for 48 hours, okay? Let's hop into our point number 2 here, okay? Now, I'm going to explain to you this concept because I think it's a very important concept to understand so that we can better understand our solutions here. Okay, we're going to discuss, in our number 2 point is going to be about the spiral. Now, I'm going to draw you out a spiral so we can understand the visual of how this kind of works emotionally. Okay, so we're going to go in, around and around and around until we reach the center here, okay? So this is the thing about a spiral. Now, we're obviously not talking about a physical spiral. We're talking about an emotional spiral. In a spiral, what will happen is you'll start off here at a trigger point. Something is going to trigger you, something that he does to you, something that he says to you, some sort of slick action that you peep. It could even be as simple as a liked picture. In this case, let's use the example of the fact that he doesn't message you for the last 2 hours. And this triggers your fight or flight response because of the experiences you've had before about being cheated on. See, this is the important thing I want you to understand about the spiral. This is kind of like the entry point. Once you enter here, you're going to go round and around and around like this. And every time you get a little bit deeper here, each point, right, of depth, each point of depth here is going to make the process of being with this guy just a little bit harder to escape. What do I mean by that? See, when you start off with your initial trigger, you're going to start thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, what is he doing? What is he saying? Why is he saying that? Why is he not messaging me back? What could he be doing at this time? But the problem is this spiral, right? When you let it fester and you don't have a plan in place on how to work with it, on how to channel your energy, which we're going to talk about all of that in a little bit. As you get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the spiral, you'll begin to self-sabotage more and more and more and more. And this is the main point I want you to understand about the spiral. See, the spiral in itself is not even the main issue. The issue, the biggest issue with the spiral is that when you begin spiraling, you'll begin taking actions that will actually hurt your relationships because you won't allow yourself space to think and space to give the appropriate response to the way that you're feeling. And when you're not in control of this and you don't have a plan in place, you'll go deeper and deeper and deeper into the spiral. And every time you go deeper and deeper into the spiral, you'll start taking more and more actions, right? Based on how you feel because of the way that you've been triggered. So what we want to do, if we want to kind of work on this properly and we want to help you see results, we need to figure out how do we battle this area right here. We've got to really focus in on getting really keen on acknowledging this area right here at the beginning, acknowledging what would trigger you. That way we can really focus on mediating the issue, on not suppressing your feelings, but understanding how to channel them and deal with them at this early stage. Once you start going and this snowball and things get rolling, it becomes very, very difficult to control the emotion and very, very difficult to manage the emotions now because now your emotions are controlling you rather than you controlling your emotions. So when we're talking about the spiral and we're talking about how to prevent you from overthinking, we're building a strategy specifically to address this part of the spiral, the initial trigger, in understanding the trigger and why it's a trigger for you, but then also understanding that you need to jump into action immediately once we start going with this trigger, okay? And identifying that certain things will be triggers for you is a very important part of this, but also strategizing when you come across one of those triggers, whether you anticipate it or whether it's unexpected, in saying to yourself, okay, I already know I've been triggered. I already know this will send me down a spiral. Now that I know that, immediately I'm putting my plan into place and I'm going to do all the things that I'm supposed to be doing in terms of redirecting my energy, channeling it in the right places so that I respond properly and I don't allow this spiral to control my emotions and lead me to a place where I act on the fact that I'm spiraling by self-sabotaging, okay? So let's hop into our point number 3 here. I know I'm going quick here, but we got a lot to discuss, okay? Now, does that make sense to all of you so far and why that is very, very important, okay? Spiral needs to be addressed at the very, very beginning, okay? Now, let's address something that some of you will probably be a little bit ashamed of and I think is still very important, all right? Let me just look through my note here. Okay, so this is very interesting. Let me make sure I spell this right for the spell police. I hope I spelled experiences right on the last one. Okay, so I don't want this to happen for you. So this is the thing about self-sabotage. You can end up in a situation where, let's say this guy, right, doesn't text you for 2 hours. So you have the phone here and you get no text. What we don't want here is a situation where anytime you are delivered with a trigger for you, and we're going to talk about triggers in a little bit as well, right? That this ends up equaling, right? So we can just say equals We don't want any of this to end up leading to self-sabotaging. So in this case, when you have a situation where you don't get no text, and this no text lasts for 2 hours in the example that I gave before, see, this can lead to many different things. This can lead to an accusation, right? This could also lead to, we'll just put here, a spam call. This could also lead to a spam text. And this could also lead to, let's just say, you showing up or pulling up, as the kids might say. So the reason I'm saying all of these things is because, see, these responses to the way that you have been triggered could actually lead to the ending of your relationship with a guy that's great for you and that you're great for. But the problem is, see, when you don't understand how to manage your overthinking, you won't understand how those triggers will force you to self-sabotage in the moment. Because emotions are kind of like a river, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, right? We want to figure out not how to suppress your emotions. We want to figure out how to make sure that when you feel emotions, you're able to feel them and channel them in a way that doesn't end up ruining your relationship. Tell me in the chat if you've ever self-sabotaged because of the fact that you were overthinking. Here's the thing. When you're overthinking, you're not thinking about how you're presenting yourself. You're not thinking about what you want that guy to think of you in the relationship. You're not thinking about the energy you want to embody in this relationship. I'm not saying you can't feel things, but what we don't want is for you to act on the fact that you're overthinking and then be wrong about your accusation, be wrong about the feeling that you had, and then all of a sudden you're trying to backtrack on the way that you self-sabotage. So for example, when you accuse him of cheating and then you show up at his place, for example, and you say, hey, you haven't messaged me back for the past couple of hours, and I know you're up here doing something crazy, right? You're thinking in your mind, I'm acting on this based on how I feel in the moment, and it feels very true to me. It feels like reality to me. But then when you show up at his house, or you send him all those spam calls or all those spam messages, and then you realize that he actually wasn't cheating on you, he was actually just at work in a work meeting, now you look very foolish. Now you look very silly. But the problem with that is, at that point, you're going to start trying to recover from that mistake of self-sabotage. And this is why I really don't want this for you, and this is why it relates directly to your relationships. Because once you self-sabotage, you're gonna have a desire to try to fix the fact that you self-sabotage by giving him more of you, by giving him more access, by doing something for him. You want to essentially make it up to him because you self-sabotaged and you accused him of something that isn't necessarily true. But this is a problem now. Now that you're in a place of thinking, I need to do something for him in order to kind of backtrack here, or in order to reset here because I was wrong, now you start getting into a mode and a mindset where you're thinking, okay, I need to do more things for him. I need to impress him. I need to show him something. I need to spread my legs open for him. I need to let him jackrabbit himself inside of me because the ways that I self-sabotaged earlier. And I do not want you as a woman in prove-it mode. The moment you become of a mind state that you're in prove-it mode is the moment your relationship with that guy ends. Because as you start thinking, I need to prove something to him, you're going to start forgetting all the strategies and things you're supposed to be doing in terms of evaluating him in the relationship that you're in, and analyzing his behavior and the way that he talks, speaks to you, and treats you to determine if he deserves to be with you, not the other way around. Once you start thinking about how you can do more for him to prove something to him, you will immediately turn into a pick-Misha, and everything we've worked for will go down the drain. I don't want that for you. Okay? Right? Someone said you're such a genius. Where have you been all my life? Don't worry about what I've been. Worry that I'm here with you now. Okay? All right. Let's hop into point number 4. Does that make sense to all of you so far? Now, we're going to get into really strategizing here now that we understand what has not been working and why it's not been working, all right? So, in our point number 4, we're going to address something really important. Actually, one of the most important, okay? All right, I'm going to draw you out a little bit of a visual here. Don't make fun of me, okay? My drawing skills are not very good. Okay, but we're not going to talk about that. Make sure you guys can all see that. All right, we got a car here. Okay, so we're going to imagine this, right? Let's imagine here. Let's imagine here we have a scenario in which there are two ways that you can get to work here. There's a main road that everyone takes, lots of lanes, really easy to get there. It's a very straightforward drive. And then you have a side street going on here. See, here's the thing about triggers. See, if you understand, let's say for the sake of example in this little bit of an analogy, that on this main road, at a certain point, there are a whole bunch of potholes, right? On this main road here. And if you take this main road the entire way, at some point you're going to encounter a whole bunch of potholes that'll give you a flat tire and will ruin your rims because of how bad the road is at this point here. What you're going to do eventually is you're going to realize it doesn't make sense for me to keep driving my car down this main road that I know at a certain point is going to have potholes every time I go on my way to work. I got to get there somehow. So what you're going to do is eventually you're going to realize the best way for me to get to work safely without having to worry about my rims or my tires is by taking this side street on my way to work instead of taking the main road the entire way. That way I can avoid this area over here that has a whole bunch of potholes. Okay, so this is a very important analogy because I want the same thing to happen with you in your relationships whenever you overthink. What I want you to start doing is start being honest with yourself. This is going to take some self-awareness and some thinking back to your own life. Start thinking about the experiences you've had with men, whether it be exes or guys that you've been talking to. Start thinking of the things that they said or did that triggered you to have the craziest response. Either triggered you to pull up, either triggered you to spam call him, spam text him, start acting crazy, start doing crazy things, bleach his clothes, burn his clothes, knock on his door, break his window, anything that you've done in your past history that have been absolutely insane where you look back on it and you think to yourself, oh boy, I was way out of my mind when I did that. Any of those actions, I want you to think back to those and ask yourself, what did he do or say at that time that made me go crazy, okay? The reason I want you to ask that question and answer it for yourself is because those are your exact triggers that we want to be aware of for the future of your relationships and with the new guys that you're going to start dating or start talking to. Because when you're aware of those as triggers and you accept those as being your true triggers, now we can start working to understand how to take side streets to still get to your destination of being in a happy, healthy relationship, but understanding as soon as this trigger comes, I'm going to create my response with my plan in place of how to redirect my energy so that I don't respond the same way that I responded before. Okay? Because what we want to do is we want to use your past experiences that you've had and even your past traumas to understand how to avoid you responding the same way that you did in the past. Because the reality of it is you can't control how men treat you or what they do or don't do with you. So sometimes you're going to meet a great guy, sometimes you're going to meet a trash guy, and they're going to trigger you in very similar ways that other previous men have triggered you. It's not about trying to make sure that each man that you date is never going to trigger you. It's about understanding what your triggers are, the same way you understand that these potholes exist whether you like it or not. And you got to get to work one way or another, whether you like it or not. So we want to figure out how do we get to work in a way that doesn't have you going through this road and encountering a whole bunch of potholes. So it's the same thing for you. We want to figure out how you get to the destination of a good relationship, despite the fact that some guys, both good and bad guys, will do things to trigger you in ways that will get you to respond out of pocket, that will get you to self-sabotage like we talked about in our previous point, or just throw you out of whack in a way that doesn't allow you to present yourself with the queen energy that we want you to present yourself with. So what does that really mean? You have to answer for yourself. What are my truthful triggers? Am I triggered by a man who won't message me back for a couple of hours? Is that something that's going to throw me out of whack? If a guy tells me something in particular or does something in particular in the way that he acts towards me, or the way that he talks to the waiter, it could be something small, anything for you that you know in my past, I've responded crazy when a guy has done this or said this to me, right? That is what you identify as your trigger. And then you say, as soon as I see this, as soon as I feel this, I'm going to put my plan in place in order to redirect my energy. Because remember, in our opening point or our point earlier, remember when we talked about the spiral, the place we want to address the spiral is at the entry point. Knowing the trigger so that we don't start going deeper and deeper down the spiral to the point where we can no longer control ourselves. Okay? Does that make sense so far? Tina says, lying to me is what triggers me, my overthinking, my empathy, then overthinking again. So perfect, Tina, you've identified for yourself one of your triggers. Now, we're going to put in place how we're going to kind of plan and we're going to respond to that whenever you have that trigger. Because the reality of it is, you can't control if men lie to you or not. In a perfect world, sure, they would never do that. But we want to make sure that you have a plan in place to control how you respond to that whenever a guy does lie to you, okay? So let's start off with the response here. And I'll be honest, some of you aren't going to like my description here. Okay, gonna draw you out here, and then we're gonna get to it. Gonna give you a bit of a visual. I'm sure when I'm drawing, some of you are like, I wonder what this really means, trying to figure it out before I start talking about it. It's good, at least your brain's working. All right, so this is the thing. Point number 5 is about the response. Now, this is the thing about the response that I want you to start thinking about. And I know some of you aren't going to like this, especially those of you who are anxiously attached people. See, whenever you're dealing with a guy and he's causing you to overthink in the way that he's acting towards you or the things that he's doing with you. Let's say in the same example that he's not messaging you back for a whole 2 hours and you're confused what he could be doing at this time. You're confused where he could be at this time. You're confused who he could be with at this time. There's an innate desire, especially if you're an anxiously attached person, to, when you're overthinking, to surround yourself with people, whether it be girlfriends, right? Family, right? Whoever it may be, in some of your cases, guy friends. Oh boy, please don't do that. And whatever it may be, you want to surround yourself with someone that can help make it easier for you to stop overthinking, right? Someone or something, right? Just so you make this process easier. But here's the thing. Every time you purposely try to bombard yourself with being around people anytime you feel yourself overthinking, what you're doing is 2 things that I actually don't want you to do. The number one thing you're doing is you're basing the way that you respond to situations and the way you control your response externally on other people and whether or not they're there for you. The reason that this is a problem is because what will happen eventually is you'll get to a place where the only way you can control your emotions is by having someone else help to pacify you and help to baby you in order to control your emotions. But this is a problem because all of these different people in your life, they have their own lives. They have their own problems. They have their own situations. So what happens when you need any one of these people that you like to bring close to you whenever you're overthinking, and they have their own situation to deal with, where they can be there for you and help to stop you from spiraling. Now we have a situation where you're out of control and you're out of whack when you try to gain control back by having one of these external people come into your life and they can't be there. Now you're really going to lose control. Now you're really going to spiral. Okay? And I don't want that for you. The other thing that can happen is you actually take, let's say the guy here, right? You take the guy you're dating here and you actually use him as the person you come to whenever you're spiraling. But the problem once again is, what if you're spiraling because of that guy? Now it makes it very difficult to be able to understand how to go about this situation when the person that you're always relying on externally to help you anytime you're spiraling is the reason you're spiraling. So now we have a bit of a conundrum on your hand. The way that you prevent all of this from happening is by making sure that anytime you're thinking about how to respond to a spiral, respond to a situation, what you want to do is you want to stop relying on others, okay? You don't want to bring anyone else close to you while you're spiraling. We want to develop a strategy for you and a situation where you understand how to deal with your spiral internally, right? First, it's by identifying your trigger, but it's also about allowing yourself to think, okay? And regulate, like Chris just said, right? To self-regulate. Regulate your own emotions. This is the other problem whenever you have all of these other people around you. See, you might think they're all helping me and preventing me from overthinking by giving me advice, by calming me down, by telling me to breathe, all that regular stuff, okay? But the problem is now you put yourself in a situation where you're not able to self-regulate your own emotions. You're not able to manage your own emotions. You constantly need someone there to manage your emotions. The other problem with that is now, in terms of responding, right? You don't know, you will end up having all of these people bring you with their response, right? Or with their ability to try and help you and prevent you from overthinking. They will all be bringing their own personal ideas and thought bubbles, right? Here, towards you, right? They have their own opinions about things. They have their own ways of going about things. They have their own traumas, their own experiences. The thing about it is, now, when you're overthinking already, someone that already overthinks, you're going to be in a position where now you're bombarded with even more ideas, even more thoughts, even more ways of responding, even more ways of going about it. And it becomes very confusing because all of these people might have contradictory things that they say to do. So for example, when that guy doesn't message you back for 2 hours, you might think to yourself, is he cheating? Maybe I should wait. Maybe I should do something. Maybe I should show up at his place. Maybe I should ignore him forever. Maybe I should. And all of these different ideas will be brought to you by different people because they have their own individual way about going about things. But the problem is, for someone who's already an overthinker, they're going to bring to you ideas that you may not have even thought of in the first place, which is bad because now you have ideas in your mind that you weren't even thinking about before. And they also might bring different contradicting ideas that you might say, well, I don't know what to do or what to think anymore. Because one person says it's this, another person says it's that, another person says respond like this, another person says respond like that, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. And now you're in a situation where you're an already overthinker, but now you've actually made the situation worse because all of these other thoughts you've brought into your vicinity and brought into your orb, your aura, and now you're really not sure how to go about a situation. We need to isolate you. I know it sounds bad. We need to isolate you and allow you to regulate your emotion by yourself, to think through the emotion by yourself, to think through the logic as well by yourself. And feel what you're feeling. It's not about suppressing the emotion, but feel what you're feeling void of everyone else's opinion. It's already hard enough to go through the emotion, feel it, and figure out how you're going to act on it when you just have to worry about yourself, what you think, and what you want. It's way harder when you have to consider what 10 different people have said to you, and what 10 different people's opinions are on your situation, and what 10 different people tell you to do in this particular scenario, right? It becomes very, very confusing. I want your life to be made simple, especially as it relates to your emotions. The more confusing things are, the more paralyzed you will be, and I'm talking about paralyzation emotionally, and the less likely you'll be to take any action because you just feel like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to do nothing. The problem with that, though, is that is a very easy way to get manipulated and controlled by people. When you're so paralyzed by your emotions, you don't know what to feel. You're just looking for someone else to tell you how to feel. Okay? So let's hop into our point number 6. Okay? Hope that makes sense to you guys. I know that drawing was kind of messy. This erase is so much better. I'll do this from now on. Okay. So in our point number 6 here, let's really get into the nitty gritty. The nitty gritty. Pretty sure redirection is one word, but it's all good. All right. What we want for you, I'm going to draw you a little bit of a visual. You know I love visuals. Okay. Like that. Now we're going to draw this here. So let's imagine here. You guys know I can't really draw like that, so we're just kind of going with it. So let's imagine here we have a river, and this river is flowing downstream, right? And this river flowing downstream, you want to figure out how you can essentially use and regulate your emotions in a way that helps you work with what is going on, work with how you're feeling, work with what you're thinking, and work with how your mind works so that we can get you to the proper destination. So what does that mean here, and what does that look like here? Similar to having a river that is flowing down in a particular direction, you want to understand that you're never going to be able to stop that river from flowing. It's just not possible. You're not going to be able to control the fact that that river is flowing downstream. Okay, gravity works the way that gravity works, and you're not going to be able to control that. What you want to do instead is you want to figure out, how can I possibly, right, set a dam up in this river here, right, in my emotions, that instead of, me trying to say I won't feel things, I won't think things, I won't have things happen to me or affect me, you figure out how this dam, right, can help to redirect the flow of your energy, the flow of your thoughts, the flow of the way that you're feeling, in order to get you to a better destination, okay? So what does that mean, and what does that look like? In order for you to make sure your emotions are flowing in a place that's actually productive for you. Sorry, chat, I can't do anything about the freezing here. In order for you to do something that allows your emotions to flow in the place that you actually want them to flow, that is actually productive for you, we've got to figure out, where can you channel your energy that will best serve you to being able to respond in the way that we want you to respond, right? Because we don't want your response to be consistent of, self-sabotaging. We don't want your response to come in a way where you make the situation worse. But we also don't want you to suppress your feelings. We also don't want you to just not feel things at all. We want to figure out, how do we let you feel things in a way that allows you to express yourself but doesn't self-sabotage you in your situation. So you have to ask yourself, what are some of the things that get your mind focused on whatever it is you're doing, that you tend to not be so involved in your own life or your own thoughts or your own head? And for some of you, you're going to realize you don't really have this yet. You don't really have that thing yet that will allow you to redirect the flow of your energy, right? And this is the thing that you want to understand, right? If you don't have that yet, that thing in your life that will let you redirect the flow of your energy, the flow of your thoughts, that will actually force you to focus on what's going on at the time that you're feeling like self-sabotaging, at the time that you're overthinking. Anytime, if you're not sure what that is, you have to do some experimenting and exploring in order to figure out what that is for you. Because what can't happen, listen to me, what can happen is that you end up in a situation where you don't have anything to redirect your energy into. That anytime a guy is upsetting you, anytime you begin to overthink in your mind about this relationship or about what's going on, all you can do is sit there and wallow in your misery. Please. I don't want the only thing for you to turn to is to watch his stories, is to watch what he's doing, is to overthink more, is to look for more clues. This is not good. This will only send you deeper and deeper and deeper down your spiral to the point where you can't control it, you can't pull yourself out of it, and all you do is self-sabotage. We need to help you, help yourself, help this situation by figuring out how you can redirect energy into things that take some focus from you, that takes some attention from you. So what does that not look like? That doesn't look like watching a movie on Netflix, okay? That's not gonna take your focus and attention and redirect it. That doesn't look like sitting in bed scrolling through TikTok. That's not gonna take your focus and attention away, okay? That doesn't look like scrolling through Instagram or watching WhatsApp story, whatever, that doesn't look like that, okay? Even watching YouTube, it doesn't look like that either. What it looks like is doing something that in order for you to get it done, it requires your attention and focus. So for example, writing. If you enjoy writing, that's an example of something. You can't be half present in what's going on about the situation and also be present with your writing. That can be something like cooking. You can't be present in what's going on over here if you're not focused on what it is you're cooking or what it is you're putting together, right? Painting, you can't be focused on other things if you're not focused on, if you're focusing on the painting, right? Or whatever it is you're drawing or whatever it is you're creating. All of these things are good places to redirect energy. Now remember, it's not about suppressing the emotion. It's not about not feeling the emotion, because the truth of the matter is, no matter what it is you're doing, if you're an overthinker, you're gonna casually think about the thing that you're overthinking about while you're doing other activities. It's just a natural occurrence, especially for you as an overthinker. We're not trying to get you in a situation where you don't think, where you don't have thoughts, where you don't have feelings. We're trying to get you into a situation where your thoughts and your feelings become so much more manageable because you understand how to flow them and redirect them in the right place, right? And you understand how to channel energy. It's not about taking it away. The energy is not going to disappear. It's about understanding how to channel it, because what we want is we want to make the emotion and the feelings that you get and the thoughts that you get whenever you overthink, we want them to become so much more manageable. Okay? Because when they become more manageable, then you're not going to be self-sabotaging. Then you're not going to be responding to men in ways that takes away from the queen energy that you want to present yourself as. Then we're not going to be making accusations or putting ourselves in a position where we feel the need to recover and backtrack and do things to prove to him that we're sorry about the way that we self-sabotage based on our overthinking. Okay? Let's hop into our point number 7. The stream better for you all, chat? I hope the stream's better. I've learned that as I have to take care of the internet how I can, but once it starts lagging on me, ain't nothing I can do, to be honest. I've learned that from experience, so I just gotta let it cook. It's not that I'm ignoring you guys, I just gotta let it cook. It usually return back after a while. I hope it's returned back. Okay, so this is gonna be the hardest part, I won't lie to you. So, this is the hardest part of this whole thing. See, I'm gonna draw you out here. Small eyes for you today. That's the vibe we on. So, wow, this is not a very good drawing. Number 7 is to act on facts. Now, the reason I drew this like this, even though it's a bad drawing, what I want you to think about when you're thinking about this drawing is I want you to think about, you know, a ventriloquist dummy, right? Yeah, ventriloquist dummy, right? Or just a string doll, right? Where you can control the doll by, you know, your fingers at the top here. What I want for you, and I want you to visualize, the reason I'm drawing it like this, is I want you to stop allowing feelings to be the thing that gets you to take action. I want you to put yourself in a position where the only time you take action is when there are facts that are existing in reality that mean you should take action. So what do I mean by that? For example, right, the guy doesn't message you back for 2 hours and you're thinking to yourself, maybe he's cheating on me. Maybe he's going behind my back and he's sleeping with another girl or on a date with another girl. rather than acting on the feeling and saying, I want to crash out, I'm going to show up at his house, I'm going to spam call him because I feel like he's cheating on me. Rather, I want you to say, he hasn't texted me back for 2 hours, right? I can ask him where he's been or what he's doing the next time I speak to him, and I will allow him to answer me with whatever answer he gives me, and I will accept that if I have no other evidence to prove that that's not what he was doing. See, part of acting on facts, and this is the really painful part of overthinking and acting on facts, is that you have to let go of the idea you can control people and get some sort of answer that you're looking for. Because the reality of it is, just because a guy doesn't message you back for 2 hours, it doesn't necessarily mean he's cheating on you. And if he tells you he was just at a work meeting and you have no other evidence to show that he wasn't at a work meeting, you have to accept that I guess he was at the work meeting. Now, here's the thing about acting on facts. If you ever get to a point where you're saying, Tomisin, I'm constantly overthinking with this guy because every time we go on dates, every time we're away from each other, he makes me feel anxious. He doesn't message me. He's gone for hours. He's gone for days sometimes. He doesn't seem to want to communicate. He just makes me super anxious because of the way he acts all the time. What am I supposed to do? Only act on the things that are factual and not feel like I'm having a lot of anxiety around him? In that case, then you act on the fact that he's not the type of guy that you're looking for. If you ever get to a point where you feel like you're overthinking with a guy because you don't have clarity in this relationship, because you don't feel like there's direction here, you don't feel like you know what he wants, right? You don't feel like he really wants to be in a serious relationship or is taking this serious. If that's the reason you're overthinking, then you end the relationship, right? You don't sit around overthinking with a guy who is not showing you direction or having you have clarity in this relationship. That's not what overthinking or dealing with overthinking is about. Dealing with overthinking is about understanding the difference between, hey, I'm overthinking because something is actually wrong or I need to leave this relationship, versus I'm overthinking just because of my trauma, just because of my experiences, just because of my history. Okay? That's why this is a very important show, because it's not just about saying I won't feel things. It's about understanding the difference between feeling something that is actually true and real or actually a problem versus feeling something that's really not about this specific situation. It's more about an experience you've had that's causing you to have that feeling. Being able to differentiate with that between those two, and then also being able to deal with those two versions of feelings and things that can happen in your situation or relationship, is really, really important to being able to manage your emotions. Not that you don't feel them, but you manage them and you figure out how to control them and redirect them in ways that works for you. Not having your emotions control you, then you end up in a situation where now that you self-sabotage and everything's gone wrong, you're trying to apologize to him by slurping him off, or trying to apologize to him by letting him jackrabbit himself inside of you way earlier than he should have because of the ways you've self-sabotaged because of your overthinking. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, do you guys have any questions about the 7 that we just discussed here today? I'm here to answer as many questions as I can for you all, okay? I also apologize for the way that it kind of zoned out there a little bit there, right? Does that make sense to all of you beautiful people? Also, let me make sure okay, yeah. Someone says, could you go over the first one again? Mia, for all of you beautiful people who want to rewatch the show, I'm going to leave this one up. You guys can go rewatch it on my YouTube channel. So just go over, it's on the top right corner of the screen. Just type in my name, Tomisin, Tomisin, and this will be in the live section of my YouTube channel. You can rewatch the whole thing. I'm live on YouTube right now, so you'll be able to rewatch the entire thing right now. Don't you worry your pretty little head, okay? Go over there, you'll watch it, and you can rewind it as much as you want, all right? It's up there now, so you can go there now. Tina says, thank you so much. Thank you. Great Aunt says, do you do coaching one-on-one? No, I don't. It's not because I don't like you all that I don't do coaching. I just don't have time. I don't have that amount of time to do coaching. I wish I had more than 24 hours in a day, but I only one human. I don't have time to do coaching, but I am here very often, posting videos very often, as comprehensive as I possibly can. And for those of you who want a little bit more of a personalized answer from me or experience with me, I do have an option that's not coaching, but you can ask me a personal and private question. You can do that by going into the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube. Click where it says private relationship advice. There you can type out a question of your situation, your talking stage, whatever it is that you want advice on. You can send it in to me, and then I will respond with a voice message sent back to your email that you're going to use to send in that message, right? And it'll be personalized for you. It'll be very specific to your situation. And the more details you give me, the easier it will be for me to answer your question in the way that's very specific for you. So that is kind of like my version of one-on-one coaching, but it's just not through like, a video like call, sit down with me and you, okay? But it definitely will get your question answered. It's like a private hotline for any of you who have questions for me. Okay. And he says, how do you know if he's giving fake love? I've actually talked about that in a whole show on YouTube. It's titled, if you type in my name and then type in men faking love, I have a whole show about that, which is very comprehensive here. There, okay? Does that make sense? Makeup says, if he rescheduled the date twice and talking since November, now he's wanting to meet up, do I ghost him? If he's rescheduling the date, but he's rescheduling for like an actual specific reason, I don't think that that's a problem. Rescheduling the date in itself is not a problem. I think that if a guy is mature enough to tell you ahead of time, hey, I won't be able to make the date, I don't think that you should just cast that guy off and never date him. Let's see if he can actually follow through. Now, if it gets to a point where the same date that he was supposed to take you on months ago, he's rescheduling 3, 4, 5, 6 times, then it becomes ridiculous at a certain point. But things do happen. And as long as he's not like, oh, day of, or like a couple hours before telling you, hey, we need to reschedule, because then that's a problem in itself. It's still okay that he might reschedule a date once or twice if he still has the real intention of actually going on a date with you, okay? There's a balance there. Flower says, this is another reason to refrain not only from acting on impulse or emotions. Don't give pineapples and don't go off on people. Just gather info, process it all totally when you're rational. Precisely, right? I don't want to turn all of you into avoidance. Right? That's not what I'm trying to do, but part of processing information and processing your emotions, you have to like give yourself space to feel them. I know some of you are extroverts and some of you get charged up or feel the best when you're around other people, but the thing about it is you can't always rely on other people to help you process your emotions. If you get into a habit of only being able to process things when other people can help you process the emotion, those people will become like pacifiers to you. And so if those people aren't available to you, aren't available to help you process your emotion, well, now you're thrown out of whack. You don't want to be in a place mentally or spiritually where you need someone else in order to like exist or in order to process information or process your emotion. Because once you get into a place like that, you won't know how to act or how to feel when you don't have that person. And all of your friends, your girlfriends, your family members, they deserve to have their own lives. You can't rely on them for your happiness or your ability to be happy. You'll be very unhappy in that sense, right? Someone says, or you can use ChatGPT. I'm never going to advise you guys to use a computer that doesn't have human experience to help you with human experiences, okay? I just don't think you're really going to be able to get a lot out of it. Sure, you might be able to get some small things, but I think that the best person to help you with, if you want help with human experience, is someone who has human experience. I just don't ever think a robot or an algorithm is going to be able to help you in a way that a human being can help you, okay? Just my own personal opinion, but maybe ChatGPT is perfect for you, okay? LP Baby says, what about when it comes to your intuition warning you, Tommy, for point number 1? Well, see, this is the thing about overthinking. You have to decide to yourself, what is the difference between a feeling that you have because of a situation you've been through versus what is actually happening? So yes, theoretically, the guy who doesn't message you for 2 hours could be cheating on you while he's not messaging you. But what are you supposed to do? Do you understand what I'm saying? Part of overthinking is also understanding like what actually serves me. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Am I just going to wallow in my misery of thinking about whether or not he's cheating on me? If he is cheating on you, he will cheat on you. If he's not cheating on you, he will not cheat on you. And part of preventing yourself from even getting into that spiral of overthinking is understanding, regardless of what the answer is, it's fine. right? Your life is not going to end if he is cheating on you. The same way your life is not going to end if he's not cheating on you. And at some point, trust you me, this is for someone, I used to be a little bit of an overthinker. And for someone who used to be a little bit of an overthinker, that transition to now I don't overthink anything is understanding that regardless of the outcome, regardless of what the truth is, at some point, the truth will be revealed to you one way or another. And remember how we talked about facts and we talked about reality and we talked about what's really happening in real life? Eventually, all of those facts will come to you one way or another. You don't have to worry yourself about the possibilities because the possibilities will be possible and will happen whether or not you like it. Whatever the case may be, it'll be the case whether you try and control it, whether you overthink it, or whether you don't think about it at all. So just focus on allowing yourself to be presented with the facts at some point, because trust me, someone who's cheating on you for long enough is going to get caught one way or another. You're going to notice something, right? Something's going to be off, or multiple things will be off. The answers will come to you. And you have to, when it comes to relationships, especially too, you have to understand while you can control how you present yourself, you can control how you talk to people, how you speak to people, your aura, your energy, all that good stuff. There is also another part of relationships where you're dealing with another human being who has their own desires and their own way of going about things. And you're not going to be able to control or own that human being. Okay. It's honestly, it's going to sound strange, but it can be one of your biggest downfalls is your desire to control other human beings and control what they do or don't do when you're not around. The reality of it is you cannot control what other people choose to do or don't do. And it's honestly not really even a reflection of you or what you're doing or not doing. You have to allow people to do what they choose to do. And once you find that out, you make a choice for yourself if that works for you or if it doesn't. Okay. And this is why I'm trying to, in everything that we talk about, I like to try and help you guys become more, not, of an avoidant, but I try to help you become more independent emotionally. Because as a woman, you might have a tendency to be very external with the way that you deal with emotions, the way that you work through them, the way that you feel them, right? You need other people around in order to process them and deal with them. If you can't have someone like helping you or pacifying you, you start to find it very difficult to work through your emotion. It's not a good place to be. You become so reliant on other people around you to deal with anything that you're miserable all the time. Okay? Does that make sense? Jamila says, you want to be with a cheater? No. Why would I say that? I wouldn't want any of you to be with a cheater. Okay. How do we end up in a relationship gracefully? Do we just ghost to match his nonchalant confusion spree? Well, I always say the best way to respond to someone who is not providing you clarity is to withdraw from them. And if a guy is choosing purposely to not provide you with clarity, and you're wondering what this relationship is or what it's about or if he really wants to be with you, withdraw from him. And when you withdraw for long enough, you'll get your answer. Okay? Anytime a guy is not providing you with clarity, if you withdraw from him and he says nothing to you, doesn't do anything with you, doesn't say, hey, why aren't we talking? What's going on? Then you have your answer on how he really feels about you. Blues, because the reality of it is a guy who doesn't care is not going to be bothered by the fact that you withdraw as well. And I know it's going to sound like a little bit of toxic advice because I'm telling you that if a guy is being very unclear with you, very directionless with you, that you should just basically be nonchalant yourself and just not care and just move on with your life. But the reality of it is you're not going to be able to force someone to care by over communicating with them. And that's kind of the problem that I have with the healthy way of dealing with things, like the way that your therapist or your pastor might advise you to do things as a woman. Oh, communicate how you feel. Tell them exactly what you want. Tell them exactly how this makes you feel and that makes you feel and how that affected you and that affected you. That works in a relationship with a man who actually has a desire to make you happy. It doesn't work so well when you're dating and you're trying to figure out if that guy really cares and you're in a situation where you're dealing with a man who doesn't really care or doesn't really have intention of being in a serious relationship with you. It's very difficult to start explaining and over communicating when all your communication is for nothing because he's like, I don't care about making you happy. So you telling me your problems or your issues doesn't affect me or my desire to make a change here. And that's the thing that I want you guys to understand about that. All right. Janae says, is he fearful avoidant if he is a fearful avoidant and he said he needs space, but is also saying he still loves you, what does that really mean? Conflicted between staying and giving him time and moving on. Janae, anytime a guy says he needs space, I've actually talked about this before. If a guy tells you that he needs space, oops, my live got discontinued. I'll restart it there. Sorry, chat. Anytime a guy tells you that he needs space, you immediately give him as much space as he asks for. In fact, you give him more space. So much space that he comes to you and he says, oh, actually, I know I asked for space, but that's a little more than I actually thought you were going to give me. I didn't realize we were not going to talk for an entire week. I didn't realize we wouldn't talk for 3 or 4 days, right? That's how you want men to respond when they ask you for space. You want them to say, I no longer need space because I thought that's what I wanted. When I got it, and I got it in an extreme way, I realized I'd rather have you in my life. When they can come back to you that way, that's the perfect way you want to deal with that situation. What you don't want is a guy to ask for space, because this is kind of what guys like to do. They like to ask for space. Then they like to have you beg to be with them again and beg to spend time with them again because it's a boost to their ego. And they're used to being in a situation where, oh, they have all the power because you're begging to be with them again and you don't want the space to continue and you don't want them to pull away from you. Then it feeds their ego. They feel like a big dog. They feel like they really matter. But you want to know how they respond after they get that from you? They continue to ignore you. Okay? So don't do that. All right, chat, let's hop into our next segment, which is going to be our React segment. Our React segment is where I react to TikTok videos and other short videos that you guys have sent to me in the universe. And we have lots of conversation about it, okay? Now, before we hop into that segment, our React segment, I'm going to clean up here and prepare for our React segment. So we're going to watch an intermission video that comes from Simone Squared. She says 11 steps to transform into your dream girl by 2025, okay? We're going to watch that, and then I'm going to join you guys back in just a moment. Simone Squared,
there are 3.5 months until the end of the year is finished, which means you actually have an eternity to become your dream girl, because we're no longer worrying about how long it takes us to achieve something. You know why? Because curating the person you want to be, the person you want to become, it is a journey, okay? It's not something that can be done in 3 months. Maybe we can achieve a physical glow up quite fast, but ultimately the woman of your dreams, or the man of your dreams, you, whoever is watching this, it is going to be a lifelong curation process. 3 months to the end of the year, we don't care for this specific video. Maybe for another one of my videos we're going to care. Step number 1, you actually need to really figure out, what does your dream person look like? I want you to draw on a piece of paper or a whiteboard you right now, and then who you want to be. And on the outside of these little images, because we're doing a visualization process, you're going to write down everything that you think you're doing wrong, okay? And then you're going to do everything your dream girl does right. For example, maybe the dream person who you want to be, they wake up at 7 a.m. What time do you wake up? 10 a.m. They go to the gym. You go to the gym once every 2 weeks. They have self-respect and boundaries. They are actively achieving their goals. You are scrolling on TikTok for 20 hours a day, because we need to figure out the practical steps and measures we can do to go from A to B. A, current state, B, future state. And it's important that we actually can embody this along the way. It's not just about habits, okay? I mean, habits, yes, they get us to where we want to go, but think about your mentality as well. How are you thinking? For the past couple of months, and I'll make a video on this, I have been very depressed this year. And when we're talking astrologically, it's because this is meant to be a very deep healing year for me of a lot of inner work. And that was all coming to the surface. And there have been times where I was so depressed, I couldn't do anything, and I found that when I would exit these periods of depression, I became so afraid of re-entering that depression phase that I was just in this constant low vibration of being afraid, therefore dragging me back energetically into that depressed state. And I had to really clock myself and be like, you are acting like a victim here. Because suddenly, you know, if you're depressed, the world is like coated in a shade of gray. Every opportunity looks like a bad thing, or you'll find a way to make it not a positive thing. And I had to really clock myself. So think about, how is your mindset right now? And you know, as someone who's always had a good mindset, it didn't even occur to me that I was doing this, because I'm like, oh, I've always had a good mindset. Until I wrote everything out and I had to be like, dude, you are acting like a loser victim right now. I blocked it, and I actually did this whole process in the past couple of days, and I managed to really exit this state energetically, and now I'm in a much better place, and I'm actually stable, and I feel entirely aligned with the future and where I'm going. So sometimes we need to clock ourselves. Step 2, stop putting so much attention onto other people, things that are taking up your time. So we're going to do another visualization process. Where is your time going? There was a period where a lot of my mental energy was actually being siphoned away by just thinking about things that have not happened yet, or things I was worried about, and also people who I'd formed these energetic attachments to. I could not let go of them. Didn't even know that they were taking up so much mental space until I did some meditation retreat, and I'm like, damn, like, why do they keep coming up for me? And I had to really burn that energetic cord later on. You need to have a clear outline of where is your attention going. Where attention goes, energy flows. We need to free up a lot of your energy to keep it to yourself, so it's not being siphoned away by energy vampires, people who don't deserve it, and things that just aren't productive to you. This is my new term, energy vortex. You need to get into your own energetic vortex and exit other people's energetic vortex. What does that mean? If you are, for example, obsessed with a man and you're not obsessed with yourself, you exist in his energetic vortex, because your life now revolves around them, whether you know it or not. You wake up, Instagram, did he post a story? Let me check his following. What is he doing? You are in his vortex. You're giving him your energy. You need to actually remove yourself from his energetic vortex and get into your own. Step number 3, what are the subconscious things deeply rooted in you?
So I like that Simone squared energy vortex. I like that terminology. Let's hop into our first reacts video here. This one comes by Flossy Baby, okay? What's going on? Flossy Baby? What is happening? Look how they're trying to do me. You can't play me a TikTok video? What is going on? Look how they're trying to do me on here. Oh boy. Is my internet just gonna...
Welcome back, class. This is part 2 of things that are strictly for girls only.
Okay. Interesting. Let's see if we can find it here.
Welcome back, class. This is part 2 of things that are strictly for girls only. Number 1, pillows. As a man, why do you need neck support? Are you a newborn? You need to lie completely flat. Okay? No pillows. They don't deserve it. Number 2, laughter. Men should never laugh. The only time a man should laugh, say it with me, class, is on his birthday. Because what's funny the other 364 days of the year? Exactly. Nothing should be bringing you joy. Laughter is for women. Number 3, straws. Are you a baddie? Why do you need a straw? Drink it straight from the source. Don't you feel silly puckering your lips around a straw? Because you look silly. Straws are for women and children only. Number 4, hot showers. When I become president, I will carry out a cold shower mandate for all men. The only time a man should be warm is when he is working hard outside in the sun. Hot water is for women. Number 5, emojis. First of all, your first crime was owning a phone. Using emojis?
We literally had a show yesterday, or not yesterday, on last Thursday, and you guys were telling me that if a guy doesn't send emojis, that you're confused because you think he doesn't like you.
That's for girls.
Which one is it? Is it emojis or no emojis?
You don't need emojis. Grow up. Number 6, hookah. As a man, why are you blowing mango flavored smoke in the air like a fairy? Are you not ashamed? Put the hookah down. You're scaring the hoes. Hookah is for girls. That's all for today. Class dismissed.
The hookah part I think is funny because I don't smoke hookah, so it's just funny to me.
Bye, girls. Men.
Wait, so do you guys agree with this? Is this? How do you guys feel about hookah? How do you girls feel about? I'm curious. I didn't know hookah was even a thing. I thought girls love hookah, so I thought if you see a guy smoking hookah, that's a vibe. Is hookah not a vibe? I thought girls be loving hookah. Okay, someone said yes, I agree. Okay, interesting. This is an interesting list here. I guess men can't do a lot, but go to war. I guess that's all you want men to do. All right, sure, fine vibes.
You cannot cuddle butt naked with everybody because your body releases hormones. Now, because you cuddled up, you releasing oxytocin. Now your body thinking it's love. Now you feeling safe and all that. But should you feel love
Why
and
is
feel
it getting
safe with
so
your
much
sneaky
brighter?
link? Maybe not. So stop cuddling butt naked. Now your hypothalamus is creating oxytocin and it's going to your pituitary gland where it's being secreted into your endocrine system. All I'm saying is, if it makes sense, it makes sense. I feel like I'm making a lot of sense right now. You cannot cuddle butt naked with everybody. I'm no biologist. Oxytocin is the hormone that makes you, one of the happy things that you have, one of the happy hormones that make you feel good. It makes you feel safe. It's also called the love hormone. That's the one that makes you feel connected to people. A little life hack. Maybe you do want to feel connected to someone. Maybe you should have some skin-to-skin contact. But you shouldn't cuddle butt naked with everybody. You shouldn't cuddle butt naked with no one that you're not trying to have a connection to, because that's how you create connections. That's why when babies are born, they do skin-to-skin contact with the parents so that oxytocin can be released. I don't know, I'm not an expert. And oxytocin is very important. Now, you mix oxytocin with dopamine, you have a hell of a combination there.
Someone said he sounds like he's reading off Google. I want to show you guys something weird that maybe some of you guys don't know. It's weird. I'm weird, so I want to show you guys something weird, okay? Let's go to TikTok. Let's search up here. Let's see in the search bar. This is really funny, actually. Let's see if... there's this thing called a professional cuddler.
How do you want to cuddle? You know, do you want to be the little spoon? Do you want me to?
Can we do both?
Oh, wait, no, I don't...
Well, y'all, it's that time again. I've been getting more and more this question. And I address it about every year.
Why, hello, it's me. And I'm just here to...
So there's this thing called a professional cuddler where people actually get paid to cuddle with people. Like it's a real job.
tell you guys that I tried that cuddling thing that's going around TikTok. The little professional cuddler thing that sounded a little bit too good to be true. And I made $400 in one day doing 5 hours of cuddling. So it's real. It works. It's platonic cuddling. You're fully clothed. There's no inappropriate touching. The people are actually really cool. Like, you learn stuff from them. One of them was like a real estate investor and knew like about acupuncture and pressure points. So I learned some stuff. The other one was computer science engineer, something like that. I don't know. I learned about sound. So yeah, like, they're really cool people. For the longer sessions, you just hang out. Like, you might watch a movie or listen to some music or listen to them talk about their passions. And then you have like your cuddling session. And it's really just about like companionship and making these people, or letting them know that somebody cares, because a lot of people are lonely. Like, they miss that companionship. They're lacking physical touch, and physical touch has been known to have health benefits, such as like lowering blood pressure, reducing stress and anxiety, lowering cortisol levels.
For $500, would you be a professional cuddler? It's platonic, like she said. Just curious. Answer the question for me.
Okay, here's the thing. If we connect off of the apps, I give you about like a week, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks at best to plan a date. Other than that, we got to move on. I'm not your pen pal. I'm not here to write novels back and forth. I'd love to get to know you in person. So this man, we chatted on the app for like a week, and it had been sporadic. Then we moved off the app. It had been 2 weeks, and I was like, let's go. And I proposed dates before, and I was like, look, I don't really want to just be a pen pal. I'm pretty upfront about that. And he was like, well, that's presumptuous that we're never going to meet. Well, hold on, boy. Friday, let's do dinner. I'm not a fan of dinner dates anymore.
Wait. She said that to him? Oh boy. She needs to watch my show on back to repeat. Oh boy. She's the green, right, Chad? I'm not confused. She can't post a screenshot from his version, right, from his phone. That's got to be her. She said Friday, let's. I tell you what.
But I will agree under the condition we fully don't make it like a formal interview process or I'll leave. And I was like,
she asked him, Friday, let's do dinner. Well, she told him. And he says, I will agree under the condition that we don't make it a interview process or I'll leave. Basically, I'm doing you a favor saying yes to this dinner date. That's what that translates to. You do know that, right, chat? That's what that translates. I'm doing you a favor with my presence. If you don't show up for me how I expect you to show up for me, I'm gonna leave the date. So this is the exact. Oh, I'm so glad someone sent this in to me. This is actually the exact reason why I tell you all to never approach men, never ask them out, never plan the date, never do any of that, because you're immediately putting him in a position of, okay, I'll say yes if you show up how I want you to show up, and you meet my standards. You're immediately flipping the script where you should be the one that's saying yes to a date and basically saying, hey, if you're not going to impress me or put your best foot forward, then I'll leave the date. But let's see what you got. Right now, she's in prove it mode.
wait, you want it to be an interview process or don't want it to be? Because
Look, oh my God. Oh my God. She's making it worse. This is no offense to you, Mrs. Smegs. That's her name on TikTok is Smegs. Mrs. Smegs, no offense to you, but this is horrible. This is horrible. You're even asking him, what do you want me to do? Do you want the interview or do you want the not? So you're actually taking into consideration how you can make his life easier by taking him on this date in the way that he wants to be taken out on this date.
Typo. He was like, haha, no, the antithesis of an interview. Loved it. Great, because same, what? Okay, yes, I'm not worried. I prefer dinner date. Gives a good scope of what you're working with. He didn't respond, whatever.
Wait, what do you mean he didn't respond, whatever? What do you mean he didn't? You just planned the date out. What do you mean he didn't respond, whatever? You're showing clear intention that you're wanting to build out a date. So this is like, it's very important that he responds to this message. The fact that he didn't respond should be, whatever.
How's the flood mitigation at my house? Because my house flooded. We've managed to survive another week. The apartment or you?
What day was that? Sorry, chat. This is so bad. This is so tragic.
We've managed to survive.
She sent that message on Sunday. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Another week.
Oh my God. Oh my God. She sent that message on Sunday. He didn't respond for 4 days, right? Or 5 days, depending on how you count it. And his next message was nothing to do with going out on a date. And her message about the date was supposed to be on Friday. So at this point, he's responding and the date's supposed to be the next day.
The apartment or you? Because, both. We chatted a little bit more. He never set a date, never followed up on getting together, nothing. Like radio silence on a date, but wants to chat about everything, life, everything in between. And I was like, look, I'm just going to be really upfront. Did you have time to set a date? I don't necessarily do chatting for weeks on end.
I need a moment. 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 I can't believe she posted this. I feel like Smegs is actually a member of our Discord community, and she accidentally posted a TikTok video of something she meant to post in our Discord. I think that's what happened. I think Smegs is actually a member of our Discord, and she meant to post this in there, but she ended up making a TikTok video about this instead. Because I'm very confused why she would continue to go on after this. I'm very confused.
Whoa. I really only gave my number with the intention of setting a date. And no, I have training Fridays, finish into the evening unless you're open to a late dinner. I never even said Friday, dude. And again, not so keen on dinners, though they can be fun from time to time. I prefer active dates. Well, let's get active, kiddo. I kept it general and said a date for today, like today's conversation. Oh, I thought you said Friday. It's been a hell of a week already. I'm losing track of the day. No, just more general. If you had interest to plan a date, no worries though. Because if you don't plan a date, I'm not going to flirt with you endlessly over text. That's a waste of my time, quite frankly. I mean, the energy today versus your energy last week in our chats is like Jekyll and Hyde. Definitely a disappointing turnoff, TBH. I'm not flirting with you for weeks on end. You're out of your mind. So yeah, I'm gonna, pressure bust pipes. Let's go. So I sent him a voice note explaining this. We were voice noting back and forth, so it was normal. Then he doesn't respond. Then the next day he texts, I would have had to cancel tonight anyways. What? We never had a date. You never set a date. Then today, I'm feeling better finally. Let's grab drinks this week. I'm sober and we've talked about it. But again, I could work my way around a mocktail. Do you want me to delete you? I had a busy day at work. I couldn't respond. So from 12:30 to 4, he put this together that I wanted him gone. Okay, sure. I chatted you the other night and gave you my side of things about the whole Jekyll and Hyde, how I'm not going to flirt with you for weeks on end if you're not going to set a date. If you're traveling, I get it. If you're sick, I get it. But if you're just lazy, I don't get it. All you said was you would have had to cancel Friday anyways, when we never even had plans. You never mentioned not feeling great and as a reason not to get together. Just anytime I asked, you called me presumptuous. And when I stopped being flirty and you couldn't commit to a date, you called me Jekyll and Hyde energy. So, yeah.
This is exactly what I tell you all not to do. Do not over-explain yourself to men that don't care. These men, they don't care. These men, they don't care. Oh my God. I'm not saying that no man will ever care about you, but like you have to get good at understanding when a man is showing you he doesn't give a damn. Like, please, if you ever get to a point where setting a date with a guy, just a simple date with a guy, takes all of this, look at how much green there is. If any amount of setting a date with a guy requires you to send all of this in a text message, you're in the wrong place. You're dating the wrong guy. The only thing you should have to say, especially for setting the very first date, is yes, I'm available then. Or no, doesn't work for me. And let him reschedule. And then the next thing you say is, okay, works for me. That's all you should be. Okay, works for me. Yes, I agree. That's all you should be saying. This whole look, she even sent a voice message before. Stop over-explaining. Stop over-communicating with men that they don't give a damn about what you're even saying.
Hey, you called me Jekyll and Hyde energy. So, yeah, bro, delete it. Well, when we chatted, I was fine, just busy AF, then got sick Friday and had a commission all weekend. But why bore you with the details? Why bore me at all? Why entertain this? He never set a date. It never went anywhere. And this is just the commonalities of the dating world. They don't set a date. They don't commit. They don't want dinner. They just want flirting. And
okay, let's just go back here.
Interview process.
Never send a message like this. Never. Some of you can't see that, but it says Friday. Let's do dinner. Don't you? If you ever, I will come to your house and I will spank you with my belt. If you ever think about sending a message Friday, let's do dinner. You will never send a message like that to a man. If you get to a point where you feel it's necessary to send that message, go ahead and block and delete his number. You will never send a man that type of message. I really mean that, because you're in the wrong place if you're even thinking about sending a man. Oh my God, what's wrong? You guys are so nasty. That's not what I meant by come to your house and spank you with my whatever. The point of the matter is, do not send a man that type of message. Okay? That's what I mean. Stop. Some of y'all are so nasty, you can't even take the message.
So this lady just said, don't ever build a future on another woman's tears because you'll have the last cry. And that was one of those
Focus on what we're talking about, chat.
things that I wish I could have told my younger self when I was going through all the stuff I was going through with my first husband. Because when I first found out about his affair, I really compared myself to this other woman. And that was crazy. I'm glad that that mentality did not last long. I forgot exactly how it happened, but there was a point while we were going through our divorce.
Oh, disgusting. Disgusting.
Where I was like,
shame. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Like, there's no sense of me comparing myself to this woman because we are not comparable. And it's not saying it in like no shady little weird way. I'm saying we're not comparable because we are two totally different women. We give two totally different experiences.
What is she even talking
about? And once I was able to
oh my, I hate when you guys do this. Now I can't listen to what she's saying with your stupid distracting comments.
Don't ever build a future on another woman's tears because you'll have the last cry.
Oh, okay.
And that was one of those things to this other woman. And that was crazy. I'm glad that that mentality did not last long. I forgot exactly how it happened, but there was a point while we were going through our divorce where I was like, there's no sense of me comparing myself to this woman because we are not
I'm just gonna ignore the chat.
And it's not saying it in like no shady little weird way. I'm saying we're not comparable because we are two totally different women. We give two totally different experiences. And once I was able to accept that, because you know how anytime you get left for somebody, you always feel like, you know, what did they do better, or you know what I'm saying? So once I got out of that mentality of like, you know, she must be better, I felt like my healing journey began. And that wasn't an initial thing, but what also gave me comfort is like this quote that I just heard. I truly believe in karma. And I think what gave me a lot of healing was knowing that I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I did not destroy that marriage. And I could walk away from that. Like, she didn't win anything. Because she would, like, you know, try to rub it in my face and all. She would say some crazy shit to, like, make it known that she took my man.
Let me tell y'all something. If you ever lose a man to him cheating on you and then he ends up being in the relationship with that girl, you should be one of the happiest people on earth, because she inherited a problem and you lost one, which is good. Like, I don't, chat, maybe it's just me, but I'm of the belief that how you get someone is how you lose them. So if you're going to get someone by cheating with them and, you know, sneaking around with them, and then they're going to be in a relationship with you, I hope you're not silly enough to think that, you know, what happened with you could not happen to you, meaning you're the person that gets cheated on. You understand that that's a function of the person you're with, not a function of how. See, the thing is, we like to like personalize it and make ourselves think, oh my God, I'm so amazing, sexy, seductive that he wanted to be with me, but he would never do that same thing to me because I'm so sexy and seductive and he just want to be loyal to me. It doesn't work like that. Okay, you're dealing with a personality trait of someone who's willing to step out on their marriage or relationship because of whatever problems they might be suffering from in their relationship. But once you deal with someone with that personality trait, what happens when you guys have problems in your relationship? The same thing.
Make him obsessed with you. That should be your only goal. You too worried about the wrong things. You worried about the new women, etc., etc. It don't matter if he got a new woman if he's still in love with you, sister.
Wait, what?
So make him obsessed with you. I keep telling y'all.
Chat, I just like we're oh my God. we can't be we're in 2025. We can't still do that's not how we're gonna do things here. Not the new woman. If he has a new woman, let him go be with his new woman.
It is your turn. Everything that he did in that relationship to have you chasing him, begging him to do right by you, begging him to be a better man, you know what? We're done chasing.
Okay.
We're not chasing, and you know what that's going to force him to do? It's going to make him pause and look up and realize that you're no longer chasing after his ass.
Okay.
And that's what's going to switch the dynamics in the relationship. Y'all be asking me, how do I get this man back? Make him obsessed with
Wait. Get the man back? So you want to steal him back from being with another? No. Chat. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be trying to steal a man back that you got stolen from you from another. No. You will never do that. What we want to do is we want to focus your energy in moving forward. I know the easiest thing, especially for you as a woman, when you become attached emotionally to a man, is to continue just going in that same cycle because it's comfortable, it's easy, you're familiar with that. Don't do that. If a man leaves you to go be with another woman, don't you dare be thinking about how to steal him back to be with you again. You want the dirty rag on the floor that be getting passed around? You want that man to come back to you and do what? That you can be worried about losing him again to another girl again?
you. Make that man absolutely obsessed with you. And I don't want to hear the comments from the girls that be like, oh, no revenge. No, bitch, I want my revenge. I'm not one of them. I want my revenge, and I actually...
I wish we could sit down and have a conversation here, because I would ask her, what do you want the revenge for? To do what with it? I get it. Ego. We all have ego. So sometimes it feels good to just make our ego feel good. But like, what are you going to do when you finally get what you want? What are you going to do with that? Let's say he does become obsessed with you and he comes back to you and he's begging and this and that. What are you going to do with that? Someone said validation. You're going to get validation, and do what with that validation? Are you going to tell people? Are they going to give you money because you're validated in the situation? Are you going to get a hand clap from other people because you received the fact that the man came crawling? Like, what are you actually going to receive from that? Is that going to make you be able to have a better relationship in the future? Is that going to make it easy for you to have a happy, healthy relationship with a new guy in the future when you get that validation? What are you going to actually... I have to stress those questions, because I want you to live your life with purpose, not just live your life based on what makes you feel good in the moment. Cool, you get validation, but what is that validation from a man who left you actually going to do for you? What is it actually going to do for you? If you can give me a real thing that it's actually going to do for you in your life, then sure. Oops.
Make
You
him
finish this.
obsessed again. How to make him obsessed? You have to become obsessed with you. You have to become somebody that is literally his dream girl and that he can have no access to.
Wait. I thought the whole point was to get him obsessed so that he wants to be with you again. If we're going to do that and he's not going to have access to you, then why are we doing any... Let's go to the next one.
Want to know how my day's going? I got brave and showed up to the gym. Hasn't even been 24 hours, right? Situationship sent me pages and pages and pages telling me how in love with me he is.
Hold on. What is going on here?
Want to know how my day's going? I got brave and showed up to the gym. Hasn't even been 24 hours, right? Situationship sent me pages and pages and pages telling me how in love with me he is. Right? And how it's gonna work.
Honestly, I feel for Shorty. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, I need to see her. Oh, she deleted her page. I think she deleted her page. I really want to see this video. Hold on, I really want to... Situationship breakups. We got to find this video. We got to find Sierra. Situationship breakup. She probably deleted it. Most likely deleted it. I want to see that video. I want to see her original video. Come on, show me the original. She probably deleted it. She probably didn't want people to see it. That's a crash out video. I wish she could show it to us. Frick.
My day's going.
Oops. What? What just happened?
I got brave and showed up to the gym.
Sorry, this is a weird day. This is a weird day, chat. Let's see what this guy has to say.
Hasn't even been 24 hours, right? Situationship sent me pages and pages and pages telling me how in love with me he is. Right? And oh, it's gonna work.
Honestly, I feel for Shorty. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all go back and watch her original video, right? She said that, you know, she got brave and went to the gym, and the guy she was talking to, you know, had told her, hey, you know, I think I need to work on myself. I really care about you. I love you. All this stuff, but I'm just not in the right headspace. Yada, yada, yada. You know, that whole thing, right? And I definitely feel her because the same, like literally the same story happened to me. I was talking to this girl that went to my gym. She told me how much she liked me. She told me I was her gym crush, yada, yada, yada. Towards the end, she was like, you know, I'm just not in the right headspace to be in a relationship. I got to work on myself. You know, I feel like I'll end up codependent on you, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, having already heard all this stuff before from other girls, I told her, like, hey, look, like, if you just want to talk to other guys, you can do that. We can still be cool. Just like, if you want to talk to other guys, I'm just not the guy you want. That is completely fine with me. That is cool. I won't be mad at you. I get it. Like, I'm just not the guy you want. That's cool. We can still be cool. Like, if you want to talk to other guys, it's perfectly fine with me. Just go do that. Just, you know what I mean? She's like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone else. I just want to talk to you. And then she started breaking down. And she started crying in my arms for like 15 minutes. She was crying.
Sorry, chat. I'm trying to figure out what happened to our TikTok stream. I don't know what happened. Can you guys see this on TikTok?
Crying, telling me how I was the only guy she wanted, how much she cared about me, and how I'm there for her and all this good stuff. I'm just like, and after all doing all that, I'm still skeptical. I'm like, okay, I just want to reiterate to you, you know, like, if you want to work on us, that's fine, that's cool, whatever. But if it is the case that you just want to talk to other guys, I promise it is okay. You don't have to put on a show for me. She's like, no, I just want you, I only want you. I'm like, okay. We go to the same gym, mind you. Literally 1 week later, I noticed that she unfollowed me on everything. And I was just like, that's odd. So I hit her up and I'm like, hey, like, I just couldn't help but notice you unfollowed me on everything. She was like, yeah, after our conversation last week, I came to the decision that I don't think we should see each other anymore. I'm like, you're the one that told me. I'm like, all right, I already know this is going. I'm like, all right, what made you come to that conclusion? She was like, oh yeah, so I just don't think we're gonna work. I was like, okay.
What is going on?
I was like, you don't think it's weird the way you're acting? She was like,
confused.
I don't know. Then she ended up saying, she ended up revealing, oh well, I started talking to someone last week, and if we end up in a relationship, out of respect for him, I feel like I shouldn't be following you anymore. I'm just like, didn't I say that you could talk to? I'm like, all right. I was like, you don't think? I was like, at this point, I'm kind of laughing. I'm like, all right, you're cutting me off for a guy you just started talking to last week, and we've been talking for months. She was like, well, I knew him before, but like, da da da. I was like, okay, well, I kind of figured you were talking to someone else anyway for a while.
I'm trying to figure out what happened to my TikTok stream, because it's just sitting here like, I don't know why it's not outputting the screen. Oh, there we go. Whatever.
Are on the plane. We immediately spotted a man that is hot. So hot. But we're like, how would she? You're watching this, sir, and you're wearing a Michigan shirt. But then we were like, how would she approach him? We just asked the flight attendant, check if the man has a wedding ring on. When your friend
Wait. Do you have a wedding ring on?
is single, remember to support your
She is married, yeah.
single friends. No ring. What's the next step? So now I feel like the next step is, well, we have 5.5 hours on this flight. By the end of this flight, you could have a boyfriend.
I've never looked worse.
No, we're a little hungover. I have my makeup in my bag.
Strategizing over what the note is gonna say.
The note can't be too try hard. We're thinking we do her number, her name. The name's good. Update. We may potentially have to be deplaning. Then we're gonna follow him to the lounge, and if date, we may potentially have to be deplaning. Then we're gonna follow him to the lounge.
You know what I don't like about this the most? First of all, she's married. I know that it's fun for her. Like, it's vibes, it's for the plot, it's like it's thrilling to do this. But here's the part that pains me in a more serious sense, because I know for some people it's just like, oh, it's not that serious, who cares, not that big a deal. The part that pains me is that I know the way she got married is not by doing this. Okay? Because she's married. She had a ring on her finger when she was talking. Remember, the cameras flipped. She's married. So, and I'm sure, okay, I don't know her life, but I can probably guarantee you she didn't end up married by doing this, by chasing around men, following them in the lounges and like when clearly a guy doesn't necessarily seem interested. And this is the part that I don't like about the friend who tries to help you get unsingle, is that they will push you in ways that are unnatural for women to kind of like hunt for men. And they'll put you in like this masculine energetical state. And it also, in a weird way, and I'm telling you this as a guy, it honestly kind of repels a lot of men, because when you come up with your friend, like, oh, like me and my friend were talking about you and my friend thinks you're really cute and she wanted, it's very non-feminine. And for the guys, it puts them in a place where they don't really feel like they were doing any work or had any real desire here for that girl. And they were kind of put in a position where you guys kind of ambushed him and hunted him, which is a weird feeling for guys. And a lot of times they either won't follow up, even if they do get the girl's number, or they'll just flat out deny. You know what I mean? Or treat that girl with disrespect because he doesn't really see her as valuable because of the way he met her. That's why I don't like about situations like this, because she's not considering that, especially since I don't think that this is how she met her husband.
If he's in the lounge, I said, bitch, put on your fucking makeup.
And look at this kind of makes me mad, I won't lie. Overly confident. Look at the size of her ring. If this is a real diamond, that's like a 5-carat ring, 4 or 5. That's a rock on her finger. That's great. But I'm saying she's with a rich, happy husband in her happy, amazing married life. But I promise you, she probably didn't get that rich, amazing husband that will buy her a 4-carat diamond ring by doing this. But she's encouraging her friend to do something she didn't do to even get her man. This is why I don't like when you even bother telling the girls that girlfriends that will do this with you.
Not overly confident of making. We are going to deplane the aircraft.
Okay, we officially deplaned. Here we fucking go. Let's go find the man.
We just made contact.
We spoke. We go up to the gate and he's talking to the gate guy, which I love, you know? Like he's a man he takes charge. So I see him. We're literally trying to trail him right now, but like we don't want him to.
What is with the videos today? What is
I don't want to lose him. The lounge is big. So anyway, he goes up to them and he turns around and I go, hey, did they just say we can go back to the lounge? And he looks at us and he goes, yeah, you can come back to the lounge. And so then Lauren, you made contact with him. Lauren asks the same question I just fucking asked. She's like, we can go to the lounge. So now we like officially are about to have full contact with this man, but we need to hurry. Why is he fucking running? The only concern is
she's making this video while she's following him from behind.
the amount of like swag of like athletic shit he's wearing. We're trying to pick locations that's not so fucking obvious that we're literally stalking this man. We're coming to the bar. Can we have 2 Bloody Marys? Positioned ourselves where we all have to go check in every 30 minutes with this one woman. He's gonna have to pass us to go see the woman.
He'll walk by and we'll be like, what are they saying? What's the update?
If Lauren doesn't completely talk to him while we're here, which get us a little liquid courage and we're gonna go do it, the best part is she now can leave.
Yeah. The best answer to problems. If I don't have courage to hold a conversation, let me take some shots and get drunk so that I can actually hold a... That's the way.
the fucking note when we get back on the plane at
And
the
it has,
end.
and it has context.
And he knows who we are
We've
now.
shared words.
It's not going to be like, oh, I wonder who wrote me a note. He knows exactly who wrote him a note. The two of us. It's kind of genius.
I think he's single.
Wait, I didn't even hear this note part. What is this
Exactly
note?
who wrote him a note. And he knows who we are
We've
now.
shared words.
We talk to him while we're here, which get us a little liquid courage and we're gonna go do it. The best part is she now can leave the fucking note when we get back on the plane at
And
the
it has,
end.
and it has context.
And he knows who we are
We've
now.
shared words.
It's not gonna be like, oh, I wonder who wrote me a note. He knows exactly who wrote him a note. The two of us. It's kind of genius.
I think he's single.
I think he's single.
I think he's single.
He's definitely single.
He's even single now.
Someone on TikTok is gonna come on here and be like, so that's my boyfriend.
No. Are you serious?
Kind of cool, right now, to be honest.
He's gay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You want to know how we know? We sent someone else.
We just ran into our friend and we said, go look how cute he is, how cute he is. And she goes, he's so cute, but bad news.
How do you know? Like, do you have proof?
He's scrolling.
Naked men. Maybe I'll do another drive-by just to see if it
You-
was like,
you know-
maybe he's a talent scout.
Maybe he's a talent scout.
For their drive-by. Yeah, go check. I looked
Go
really
do-
interested in
Go do another, yeah, go do another drive-by. Go do a drive-by. Go do a drive-by. No, this doesn't make sense.
No, he's not gay.
Lauren and I are
You know, I'm not against fun. I'm not the anti-fun guy. I don't want you guys to think I'm the anti-fun guy. I like having fun. I like telling jokes. But when it comes to relationships, I want you guys to understand like what is fun versus what is actually detrimental to your ability to have good relationships. And I want you to start getting good at analyzing dynamics to see where you might be going wrong in terms of why you might be single. Because some of the stuff that seems fun, that seems innocent, can actually be major reasons why you're still single or not, or struggling in your relationships. So this is a perfect example of that. I understand Mrs. Alexandra Cooper is just having a good time. It's fun for her. It's a vibe. But here's the problem, though, is that what's fun for her and what's part of the plot is probably the reason why her friend is still single. Because to her, and I'm, you know, obviously I'm not in their friendship. I don't know. But let's extrapolate this and make it like, you know, a thing where let's just say this is kind of their friendship and this is the vibes their friendship, you know, exists in. The problem with something like this happening on a regular basis is Alexandra Cooper, Miss Cooper, is married, right? And so for her, she goes home to her husband, cuddles with him with her 4-carat diamond ring, feels very secure. Probably, you know, they're riding in, it looks like either business class or first class. I'm pretty sure that's business class on a nice plane or even first class, depending on where they are. And she goes home to her husband and probably her children or her family, and she feels really good, really secure, all the good stuff that she would need to be happy in a relationship. The problem is, though, her friend doesn't go home to that same type of man and that same type of security. But when they go out together, she wants the thrill of what it's like to be single and live through her friend of like talking to different guys, having conversation with different guys, meeting different guys and things like that. I'm not saying that that makes her a bad person, Miss Alexandra. It makes her a bad person because she likes that thrill, likes that fun. But the problem with that is in that fun that she's trying to have for the plot, it actually ends up hurting her friend's ability to have good romantic relationships instead of helping her friend's ability to have good romantic relationships. Because the way that they're going about this is a very unnatural way for women to go about relationships, hunting for men. But the problem is, Miss Alexandra is kind of like a representation of other friends you might have in your life that can have this similar dynamic with. She's looking for the thrill. And you can only get that thrill when you're kind of hunting for different guys. Oh, he's cute. Let's go up to him. Oh, he's the one. Let's have a conversation with him. Oh, I'll go up to him. We'll leave a note on his chair or a note on his sweater or a note on his note, whatever it may be. Let's follow him to the bathroom because it's all fun. It's all part of the plot and it's all whatever. And like I said earlier, the thing that I don't like about this is that at the end of the day, after they finish doing a whole thing for the plot, that's fun, and they get to tell a joke and have a nice story and have a TikTok video, she gets to go home to her husband with her 4-carat diamond ring, and her friend goes back home to nobody because she's single. And the guys that she does meet through this process of hunting them down will probably be so either repelled by the fact that they're in such masculine energy seeking out these men, that even if she does get a date out of this, those men will have very to little to no respect for her and for her friend at least, right? And her friend is going to be the one that suffers because the guy she ends up on dates with will be thinking, you seeked me out. And remember, we just watched a video earlier that was literally a girl basically saying and over explaining herself to a guy who really had no intention of taking her out on a date. And he was even saying, if the date doesn't go like this and like this, I'm just going to get up and leave. Because if I'm going to say yes to you, basically asking me out, then you better show up how I want you to show up, or else I'm not going to be happy. It's the same thing here. When you put it in a scenario where you chase after the guy, then by the time you get on the date, the guy's going to say, well, you got to impress me because you came up to me, you left a note on my chair, you and your friend asked me for my number, you and your friend are the ones that thought I was cute, that wanted to talk to me and all that other stuff, right? So then the guys get put in a very feminine position where they're just sitting here and saying, do backflips for me, do front flips for me, show me what you got. And then I know this is going to sound a little bit, out there or extreme, but then now her, Alexandra, and her friend who's single are now sitting around plotting, okay, so maybe you can do this for him. You come on the date and you do this, you do that. Oh yeah, after the date, you should give him head that will blow his mind away, right? Knock his socks off. Oh yeah, you should do this one move where you get on your tippy toes and you bounce on it and you make him nut in 5 seconds. That'll really knock his socks off. And then you and your friend will be conspiring and, teaming up to figure out how you can help your single friend be more of a pick-me-shot. It's very bad. It starts innocent and it seems fun because I'm sure this is a fun video to share with your friends and have a conversation about, but it's a microcosm of a larger issue. And if you have this dynamic in one of your friendships, my advice to you would be to stop telling her about the guys that you like or find interesting. And even if you see a cute guy, just ignore it and don't at all make it a thing where you guys do a thing of trying to get his attention, because this will not end good for you even if you finally get the guy. I'm just being really honest with you. Guys don't respond to this type of energy. They just don't. I've never seen it work. And I'm telling you this as someone who has it happen to me as well. Okay. I have sometimes, if I go to the club or the bar, I have sometimes the younger girls will come up to me. Even the older girls will come up and they'll bring their friend, or their friend will say, oh, my friend thinks you're cute, or whatever the case. It never works. Never works. Anyways, chat, I don't want to rant too long about this. I know she was just trying to make a fun video. I'm the way too serious guy. Let's hop into our next segment of the show. A very special time, an amazing time, a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. If you're an OG Players Club member, you know exactly what time it's about to be, and I want you to spam it up in the chat if you know what time is coming. What's going on here? Okay. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. Oh boy. I need to get that out of my system. All right, chat. Let's hop into our Discord section of the show. For those of you who have no idea what's going on, I'm going to explain to you what is happening right now. So Discord time is where all of the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their situationship or their relationship. and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are a few different ways for you to send in your question to me, and I'm going to explain them all to you right now. The first way is to send your message into our free relationship advice forum. Now, you can do that by going into the link in my bio on TikTok, or the link in my description on YouTube, and where it says Players Club Discord, you go into the Discord, you drop your question into our free section. Now, it is a first come, first serve section. So what does that mean? That means that all of these highlighted questions I haven't gotten to yet, and they still have to get read out. So there's a lot of them here. I won't lie to you, because there's a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions. So I have to go through these first before I can get to your question. You can see some of the oldest ones here, over 30 days old. So it's probably going to take me a couple of weeks to get to your question, even if you ask it today. Okay, so if you don't want to wait that long to get your question answered, that's perfectly fine. I have another option for you in terms of getting your question answered, that you can skip the line, skip the queue of people, and not have to wait at all. I answer these way faster. So these are what we call our premium relationship advice forum. Now, the way that you access this to put your question in here is by going into the link in my bio if you're watching on TikTok, or my description if you're watching on YouTube. Click where it says premium relationship advice Discord question. Click that, and then it'll prompt you to donate to the show. It'll also say to add your username, your Discord username, and the title of your question. I want you to send both of those in with your donation. That way, when I get a notification on my phone, I'm able to see that that's you and see that that's your question, and verify that your question is supposed to be here by seeing that information. That way, to keep it fair for all the people waiting in the free section, waiting their turn patiently, if you're here and you're skipping the line, it should be because you properly did what you're supposed to do to be able to deserve to skip the line. That's how we keep it fair for everyone. Now, the other way to send in your message here is for those of you who don't want your information to be read out on the show, but you obviously want my advice on your situation, right? This is our private relationship advice kind of link here. It's in our Discord. It's also in my TikTok bio. It's also in my description. Click where it says private relationship advice. And there you can ask me a question privately, where it only goes to me. You can type out as much as you want to type out, and as many details. You send it in to me, and then I respond with a voice message, usually 8 to 10 minutes long, responding to your question, giving you advice or giving you perspective if that's what you need on your situation, okay? And no one else sees it except for me, all right? Let's hop into our first question of the day, which comes from just another user, okay? Interesting. And your question in our premium section today is titled, "Need your advice on my current situation, urgent relationship." Okay. Hi, Tommy. I need your advice regarding my current situation with the man I've been seeing and how to fix things in a way that works best for me. Long story short, we've been dating for a few months now. This man is hardworking, successful, takes great care of me, is consistent in his actions, gives me flowers, takes me out to dinner, and surprises me with gifts. On our fourth date, he asked me to be his girlfriend. Okay, the fourth date? Okay, that's quite early. I was caught off guard. He had coffee in his... Wait. Did I do this one? No, I didn't. Yeah, I was caught off guard. Oops. I was caught off guard. He had coffee in his hands and looked so adorable. But I told him I needed more time, that we're still getting to know each other, and that I was in a phase in my life where I needed to take things slow. Perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. As soon as I got home, I felt terrible about what I had said. Why would you feel terrible about that? It didn't sit right with me and felt like I hadn't expressed myself properly. We talked about it the next day. He texted me and I called him. He suggested another date and took me to my favorite sushi restaurant. During dinner, he took my hand and asked if we could give this a real chance. From that moment on, things were great. We opened up to each other more and more, and even though we had small disagreements, we resolved them quickly and easily. I felt increasingly more comfortable with him. Okay. We first met at the end of October, but on our third date wasn't until the end of November. My schedule is quite busy. Now it's early February and we've been seeing each other more regularly. Today, during our date, I felt like I wanted to be closer to him. What does that mean? Nothing major happened, but we kissed more passionately and he touched me a little over my clothes. I felt ready for it. Okay. However, At some point, we started talking about his Instagram and the people he follows. I told him I found it a bit odd that it made me uncomfortable. He said he understood, but that he had followed those people back when he was single. And if we were officially in a committed relationship, he would of course change that. So I asked, but aren't we? What happened to you not being ready though? I don't like this. And that's when he told me that based on our conversation back then, he assumed we weren't, which is completely fair, actually. That's 100% fair. He asked you. Now, granted, it was way too early for him to ask you back then, but I think your response was appropriate for the time that he was asking you. But I also think if you guys don't have a conversation with that afterwards, you can't just assume now it's a that's not fair to him or you. You can't just make an assumption there if you guys don't specifically talk about it. That's very unfair. He said he planned to ask again when we go to Paris. He has planned a trip to Paris for us for Valentine's Day, which is fair. That's very fair. Next week under the Eiffel Tower so that I would officially be his girlfriend. That's fair. That would seem logical. That logic doesn't seem strange or weird to me that he's waiting to make it special. That doesn't seem weird. I was completely shocked. I felt like an idiot. I had let him touch me because I truly believed we had been a couple this whole time. I have never felt so foolish, and now I have no idea what to do. After that conversation, I asked if we were going to the Sortor as planned. Chat, what is Sortor? I'm not sure what that is. I wanted to stop by a store to buy a birthday present for my friend. We talked about that before this date. Someone said, a store? It's Ratatouille? What? Okay. Before this date, he was supposed to drive me there, but we barely spoke on the way. I got a little emotional and teared up, and he said something like, I must have a bad influence on you if you're crying, but I just felt so lost and confused. I'm okay. I'm a little bit confused why you're so confused. I mean, I get it that it had been a while, but if you guys don't have, like, if he asks you to be his girlfriend and you say no, essentially no, just not right now, and he tables that but continues to date you, first of all, that's good on his part that he's not getting discouraged and allowing that to affect how he treats you. But you can't then assume that at some time fit for you, that now all of a sudden it's a serious relationship. And I feel like part of the reason you're actually feeling guilty is because in the moment where you kind of, let him touch you and things like that, you weren't yet, thinking about, oh, do I have clarity in these specific areas? And I think that in the moment, because you wanted to just do what you wanted to do, you just wanted to assume that there is clarity in the sense that, yeah, we're together. Because I think that if you didn't do any of that, it wouldn't bother you so much that you guys weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. That is the thing that's a little bit concerning to me, because I don't think that he did anything wrong by waiting for a nice romantic moment to ask you again, especially since the last time he asked you, you said no. Do you understand what I'm saying? He asked me if I was mad and if I didn't like what he had said. I told him no, that I was just disoriented and caught off guard, but that he had every right to feel however he wanted. He then said he feels a lot for me, but he just wasn't sure what I felt, which is more than fair. That's very fair. But I went into the store. I went into the store. He asked if I wanted him to wait for me or if I would rather go home alone. I told him do whatever he preferred. Unfortunately, when I finished shopping, he was gone. I'm a little bit confused. He was dropping you there? I'm confused. A little bit. I texted him to ask if he had left, and he replied that he had just gone home. I feel horrible. I don't know what to do or how to fix this. I've really opened up to him and I feel amazing when I'm with him. Please help me. What should I do? I need advice so I could do the best. I really like him and I want to continue growing our relationship. What should I do? I love your shows. Thank you in advance. Update. He said that I did big drama for nothing, and that our relationship is under a question mark, and that we are not ready for Paris. Okay, just another user. You're not going to like what I'm going to say, okay? So if you don't want to hear the truth, probably just switch it off. Don't even listen to what I'm going to say, okay? But this is not his fault, okay? And you guys know, if I have no bias. I'm here to help, and I'm here to listen to the situation and analyze it and give you honest truth, not just try and be your friend. This is not his fault. I think that he communicated what he wanted at each step of the way. I get it. At the beginning, it wasn't the appropriate time, and I agree it wasn't the appropriate time. But I think he communicated what he wanted and where he wanted to go with you. You weren't ready for it, which I don't think you should have been ready for it at that time. I think he continued dating you from what you're saying to me. I think he continued dating you and didn't change the way he treated you. And you're talking about things that make me feel like he's attentive to your needs and wants to make you happy, right? He suggested another date. So this is after you told him no to being your girlfriend. He suggested another date and took me to my favorite sushi restaurant. How is the only way he can know what your favorite sushi restaurant is? Sorry, let me just do this. The only way he can know what your favorite sushi restaurant is by asking you and by actually listening to you when you talk, and then actually acting on the fact that he knows that's your favorite place and taking you there because he knows that makes you happy. When a guy is focused on trying to make you happy, that means that he's in a place where he actually cares for you. Happy wife, happy life. When guys are focused on trying to take action for your happiness and do things for your happiness, that means he actually cares for you. And you're giving this as just telling the story of what happened. But I think that throughout this relationship, for the most part, obviously he's not perfect, but it seems like he's doing a lot to try and make sure the relationship works. You have small disagreements, which everyone has, but you resolve them quickly. That also shows a desire to make this work, that he's able to resolve conflict with you. Okay? So the reason I'm saying all of this is I don't think there was any sort of confusion in terms of how he was presenting himself to you and what he wanted from you. And if I felt like you were confused because there was actual confusion, I would say that. But I don't think there was confusion because he was actually confusing you. I actually think it's very clear based on your story here of what he wanted and where he was trying to go here with you. And I also think in being a guy myself, if I ask a girl to be my girlfriend and she says no, I'm not just going to keep asking her every single week. Like, it doesn't make logical sense. For like sane human beings, it doesn't make logical sense if you like a girl to keep asking her every day or every time you see her to be your girlfriend. So you would just kind of, the natural occurrence for most guys would be to just table that conversation until a later date when it's obvious that you guys have been dating long enough for it to be like a thing, right? Like for sure, instead of it being a question of getting to know each other better, which I think that he did, right? You guys met at first in October, and then this is now February, where he was thinking, okay, we have October, November, December, January, February. We've now 4 months into us dating. And I feel like, you know, the problems that we probably had when I was asking her at the beginning, it's probably not there anymore. We know each other better. We're used to each other more. We've worked through some things. And I think that see, when I talk about the logic train and I hear you talk about how he said his plan was to do something romantic and ask you on Valentine's Day under the Eiffel Tower. These are the type of things where I hear that and I go, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because I know when a guy is actually thinking you're a special woman, he wants to do special things for you. And, you know, most guys aren't going to say, hey, I'm just going to tell her exactly what I'm going to do. They want it to be a surprise. They want it to be romantic. They don't want you to be expecting it. So this whole idea, right, of him, you know, if he was actually, you guys already had the trip plan before you guys even had this conversation, that seems very logical. I don't think that at all is some sort of made up lie or anything like that, considering the fact that you guys had already had this conversation, right? About going on a trip. Okay. So this is my thing here. I think you're not going to like it, but I think that you were being a bit dramatic in your response to the situation, because I don't think he could have done anything more. I think he was quite clear with you on what he wanted and where he wanted this to go. And I think at a certain point, you just assumed that you guys were in a relationship and then took action on that without actually confirming that that was what was happening. And I think that the problem really stemmed from the fact that in the moment, you were so caught up in what you were doing and the fact that you wanted to do that and felt comfortable in the moment that you forgot that there's still an important part of the relationship that still needs to be dealt with. And I think that because you just wanted to feel good in that moment, you wanted to assume also that the things that needed to be addressed had already been addressed, even though they hadn't been addressed. And I think that if you would have just waited or had that conversation beforehand, instead of taking the action first and then having the conversation afterwards, I think that this problem would have been alleviated. But I don't see anything more he could have done in terms of providing you with clarity, other than asking you to be his girlfriend every day and you saying no every single day, which I don't even think is realistic. So what do you do now? I think that what you should do is the next time you guys have either conversation or he calls you, you should have a conversation dedicated to addressing this and honestly apologizing for the way that you responded here, because I don't think it was really fair to him for you to have that sort of response when I don't think that he was doing anything malicious towards you or even trying to provide you with any sort of confusion here. And I think that I get it. You were upset because of the action that you took, but understand it was a choice that you made in the moment. And if you made that choice in the moment, I feel like the way to approach the reason why you're upset is by saying, I'm just upset that I didn't have that conversation with you and I jumped ahead of myself instead of waiting to have that conversation with you. Make it about yourself instead of making it seem like, oh, I'm upset because you did something wrong. Because I don't really think he did anything wrong. And you're allowed to feel how you feel, but focus it on, I felt this way because of my action, nothing against you. And I understand where you're coming from. And I apologize for responding that way because that isn't fair to you. And I feel like what he's looking for, right, when he's saying that you have big drama, right? I think that what he's looking for is for you to take a little bit of accountability here and not kind of punish him because you were confused about something that I don't think he really aided in your confusion about. Just being honest with you. If I felt like he aided in that confusion, I would say that. But I don't think that he was doing anything, as at least nothing that you described here, to really aid in that confusion. I think you just made an assumption totally based off of how much time you guys were spending together, which is not fair to you or him because he never said that that was the case and you never even asked him. You just made a complete assumption. Okay. So I think that this is worth saving because I think that a guy with intention is always a guy you can consider being with. I don't think it's just throw away the relationship, but I definitely think having a conversation with him over the at the very least over the phone, definitely not over text, but hopefully in person would be the ideal way to just take accountability for how you reacted and how you responded and put the responsibility of how you felt on you, not on him and what he did wrong, because I don't see too much that he really did wrong here in this situation. Then once you hold accountability for what you did, you get to decide, or sorry, he gets to decide how he wants to respond to that. If he thinks that that ruins the whole relationship, then so be it. But if that's not the case, and he can work through that because you took accountability, then also so be it, right? And you have to allow him to decide what he wants to do after that, right? Someone said that she was playing with him. Someone said that he played her. I don't think that he played her. I just don't see anything here that strikes me as playing her. Planning a trip to Paris for Valentine's Day, and proposing under the Eiffel Tower or taking her out on dates and things like that. I don't see anything here that makes me feel like he was being inconsistent with her or having some sort of confusing energy. I don't think that that's present here at all, unless I'm missing something very glaring to all of you. All right. All right. Let's hop into our next question here. Okay. Which comes from Jazz. How to date a rich man. Okay. Hi, Tommy. I love your show and appreciate everything you teach us women about how to date from a man's perspective. I was approached by a matchmaker at a singles party. She said that her client, a wealthy divorced man 10 years older than me, would like to meet a woman who would like to be his girlfriend. Okay. He is willing to match her salary that she is earning now if she quits her job to spend time with him. I thought you said matchmaker. This sounds a little bit like something a little bit different than a matchmaker, but let's go on. While I was told that he would be open to getting married again, I don't know if it's true or the matchmaker just wanted me to believe it. I haven't met this man in real life yet. We just spoke on the phone a couple of times because he is spending this winter in his home in Florida. With who? Just saying. He told me that he's looking for someone who he would spend the rest of his life with. Aren't we all? I'm wondering how to politely decline his proposal to be his girlfriend if he asks me, and whether it is possible to shift his perspective to see me as a wife instead. I don't want to quit my job and be just his girlfriend. I would like to date him and possibly marry him if I like him, of course. I was married to a lazy, dusty man in the past, and I don't want to lose this opportunity. I know that you talked about how to date rich men on a couple of occasions in your show. I would appreciate it very much if you could give me more proper tips on how to date this man. I'm not going to talk about his wealth or ask him for money. I'm planning to build an emotional connection and attraction with him, as you always advise us to do. That is number one. I am aware that I need to show up differently from all the other women and not chase him or sleep with him too early. What else should I need to know and be aware of? Thank you so much, Tommy, your loyal play at Jazzy. Okay, so here's the thing, Jazz. A couple of things that you're not going to like to hear from me, but you need to hear them. So first things first, whenever you're dealing with a man with a lot of status, a lot of resources, a lot of money, a lot of power, the one thing that they don't want, older men with a lot of money and success are very stuck in their ways. Why? Because their way of going about life has worked out for them, at least financially, right? Success-wise, career-wise. So those men are usually the most rigid. When I say rigid, they're usually the least likely to change or adjust for you and what you want, because they're not in a place in their life where they feel the need to be adjusting or changing for someone else. Unfortunately, that also means that whatever he's looking for is what he feels he's looking for most of the time. You're not very likely to meet this guy who says that he's looking for a girlfriend. So, okay. I have an understanding of a lot of things. One of them includes understanding of some of these matchmaking sites. Now, I don't know exactly which site you're on specifically, but there are other matchmaking sites similar to this same idea. Like, I don't know if any of you have heard of this one. Seeking Arrangements is one of them. On a site like Seeking Arrangements, where it'll mostly be rich, successful men who are looking for younger women to kind of date and explore, it's the same idea. It's just instead, in this case, it's someone matchmaking you guys. Most of those men on those apps like Seeking Arrangements or these matchmaking apps where they're matching you with guys who have a lot of money and are high status, they know exactly what it is they're looking for, to the point where they tell the matchmaker, I want her to look like this. I want her to talk like this. I want her to have this color hair. I want her to be this ethnicity. I want her to have this type of, body, whatever the case may be, because they understand that with my resources and my access, I am looking for something very specific and I don't want anything outside of that. So he's identified that he likes your look, he likes your vibe, and he's open to getting to know you. But the problem is he also knows he's only looking for a girlfriend. And usually as well, on top of the fact that these guys with more money, more status that are older are more rigid, they're also more weary of actually getting married. Why? Because of their money and their status. They understand that getting married is usually going to put them in a very precarious situation, because when they already have money and then you marry into that money, if you divorce them or anything happens, you're going to be taking part of that money. So usually men with money are very, very wary of that idea of marrying a woman that they, are meeting or just start dating, and then she now has rights to his money. I'm just telling you the honest truth here. So that's the reason why a lot of these men who are successful that get on these sugar daddy websites, Seeking Arrangements, or even these matchmaking websites will say, I'm looking for a girlfriend and not a wife, because they don't want to get married and put themselves in a situation where they now owe you money. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the reason I say that is I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the fact that you want to get married, but I also think that the type of guy you're meeting here is not someone that's going to be very open to the idea of marriage. I'll just be super real with you. Okay. Because usually when they get to this point, they're looking for more transactional relationships, meaning they're looking for more be my girlfriend in the exact way that I want a girlfriend, do the exact things I want, explore the exact kinks that I like to explore. And in return, I will compensate you appropriately. That's their whole mentality when they get to this point, usually, right? They want exactly what they want, exactly how they want it, exactly for how long they want it, nothing more, nothing less. And in exchange, you'll get compensated. I'm not saying that to kind of demoralize you. I'm just saying that to give you the reality of what I feel like he's most likely expecting in a situation like this. Because I don't want you to come on this date thinking to yourself that you're going to go on the date and somehow walk away from the date charming him into wanting to marry you. It's just not going to work like that. I would rather you come on this date and maybe you can say, I'm going to meet him and see if I like his vibe and see if I like what he's willing to offer me, right? Or what he wants out of this situation, and then decide for yourself if that's something that can work for you or not. If you're saying to yourself, well, no, Tomisin, I want to get married and I don't see any point in even going on a date if this guy's not looking to get married, then you're probably better off just not even going on the date. Because I don't foresee a situation in which you're going to go on the date and he's going to walk away from this date saying, no, instead of having a girlfriend, I want to get married now, for the reasons that I stated earlier. Now, you can still go on the date and, see it for yourself firsthand by asking him questions, in which case, it can be harmless. You go on the date, you get to know for sure that you guys aren't a fit because you're looking for something different. But what I don't want is I don't want you to go on the date and have some sort of expectation that the date is going to magically get him to change what his preference is. Because I feel like, in my estimation and understanding of men, especially men in this realm, they're looking for something very, very, very specific. And they are not going to be convinced or persuaded into doing something different. So you're better off just either figuring out if that works for you. And if it doesn't, don't even bother wasting your time with this guy. Okay. Not saying it's bad for you to want a rich man. I want you to also be with a rich man. But I have to be real with you. The rich men that are going to be on apps like this, that are going to be on sites like this, looking for a matchmaker to set them up with a woman, they just want something very specific. They're not looking to explore marriage if that's not what they're looking for. They want their partner in the way they want a partner and nothing else. Okay. All right. Let's hop into our next question here. Our next question comes from America's Bride. Torn, 32. Tomisin, please help me. I'm 32 years old. Due to abandonment trauma, I am adopted and don't know any biological family. Relationships have been a struggle for me. The longest relationship I had was 6 months together officially. I knew him 1 year together. Okay. My last relationship was a few years ago, and we were only official 3 days before I cut it off. Okay. He was inconsistent and I didn't feel prioritized, but that's not what this is about. I recently met a guy around last year, August. Don't kill me. It started off as friends with benefits, because that's what I wanted at the time. He is 33 and he doesn't have a lot of relationship experience either. He is Jamaican. Yeah. And claimed to be raised sheltered, so he doesn't have a lot of experiences. I liked him when I first met him because he was very affectionate. They all are. Okay, they all are. No diss. At the same time, I think I was touch deprived, and he naturally gave me reassurance as far as letting me know he liked me and was attracted to me. I'm curious what your ethnicity is, but I guess you're not going to describe it here. He also invited me to meet his parents/cousin early on. I was open to a relationship, and I asked him if he wanted to get married, and he said if he finds the right woman. I felt like the reassurance and him inviting me to meet his friends and affection were good signs. So he asked me to be his girlfriend a month in, and I said yes. Are you talking about a month into your friends with benefits? Or, okay, Let's just go on. After I said yes, he said that was easy. If a guy ever responds to you like that after asking you to be his girlfriend, probably undo that. And that's when my heart dropped. Yeah. But let us continue. The first problem I noticed was he is bad at planning dates. I feel like I had to explain to him how to do so and give him ideas. But why, how come you didn't realize any of this beforehand? So I forgot. You started off as friends with benefits. So you started sleeping with him before you were even thinking about any of this. That's right. I also had to ask for flowers before he gave me any. Another thing you should have came to realize before sleeping with him. That's why the order of operations is how we do it on the Players Club. I can see that he is a genuine person with a good heart. What does that mean? What does that mean? Because he'll kiss you when you're naked and when he's horned up? Because he'll grab your dump truck when he's horned up? Because he'll put his pee-pee inside of you and penetrate you and kiss you while he does it? Is that what that means, having a good heart? Whatever. And he has good morals, and he tells me he loves me all the time while he's inside you. And he thinks God is responsible for us getting together, but not sure I'm all in. When does he say this, though? While he's inside you? While his pee-pee is hard? Is that when he says all these things? Recently, I broke up with him because I was feeling off about the relationship. The first complaint I had was about planning dates, and once I told him, he set up a dance class for us that was 4 weeks. I remember having fun at the dance classes, but I also remember having to ask if we could go out to eat after, and we did, but I don't like it that we always that always my idea. I feel like I'm forcing him, that it was always my idea. I feel like I'm forcing him to do that. We do have different diets as he eats more healthy and I eat out more. So he doesn't go out to eat a lot, where I love going out to eat. I'm a Torres. Is that what that means? I just feel like, so that's another thing where you're talking about compatibility and the ways that you guys go about stuff, right? I just feel like this can be a problem. I feel as though the dates are not consistent and we spend more time in the house. Fair. I recently had to bring up Valentine's Day before he did, and I don't like that. And when I did, he made reservations quick, but I feel like no thought was put into it. I feel like as a man, sometimes he shows up more in a feminine way. He is not assertive. He's not as assertive as I want a man to be. He is not my normal type, but I am pineapple-y attracted to him and enjoy the pineapples. It's like I tried, I think he meant to say, to like the men who like you, and it seems to not have worked. I'm wondering if you think this can be fixed, or should I just let it go? I know I did everything wrong, and maybe this is what I get, but I do feel he is a genuine person, and he genuinely wants a relationship with me, which has been hard to find for me after a string of toxic relationships. It is hard for me to let this go, even though I feel he is not my husband. So this is the answer to your question. Okay. You asked me a question and you answered it for yourself. That's why I love the Players Club. That's why I love the Discord. Part of the therapy of asking the question is the fact that you will answer the question for yourself when you ask the question a lot of times. This is the answer to your question. But let's go on. I don't want to hurt him. I'm not sure what to do. I already broke up with him almost 3 weeks ago because I was thinking it could have been self-sabotage just due to me not having any real healthy relationships. And now it seems I'm at a crossroads. You're not. You're not at a crossroads at all, actually. You know exactly what this is. I would be grateful for your advice. So, this is going to sound funny, but you have your own answer already. You don't even need my advice or my perspective. You actually are already existing with your own answer to your own question. And it's right here, right? You already feel he is not your husband. If that is the case, don't waste not a second more of your time on this guy, okay? It's not like you're having that feeling for no reason. You're having that feeling for all of the reasons you stated here before. And I get it. You made some mistakes. You shouldn't have done the friends with benefits before hopping into the relationship. And we know that, right? We know our order of operations is so important in a relationship. But now you're at the point where you've already slept with him. It's already spilt milk. And now you're trying to see what the relationship with him is like, and you're not liking it. You don't like the position it puts you in. You don't like to feel like you're in your masculine energy. You don't like to feel like you have to chase him around to get dates from him or get flowers from him or get whatever from him. You already feel like, you guys don't share the same interests. He doesn't like to go out to eat, and you enjoy and you love going out to eat. This is another compatibility issue. So now you're feeling like a lot of your relationship is going to be spent trying to turn him into someone who he has never been. Because you, aside from just sleeping with him and, you guys sharing some good moments, there is a particular type of man you need that best suits you and best suits your preferences and your personality. That's part of dating. Okay? Part of dating is not just picking the guy who likes you the most. It's also picking the guy who actually fits the criteria of what you're looking for, that by the time you're dating him, you're not constantly trying to turn him into a different type of guy. The guy who doesn't like to go out to eat and you love to go out to eat, that should have been something you were considering when dating, this guy, but any guy, to think to yourself, do we actually match here? Are we compatible here? Right? Or are lifestyles completely opposite? If we have completely opposite lifestyles, going to be very hard for us to bond, going to be very hard for us to be aligned, going to be very hard for us to enjoy each other's company when our version of fun is two totally different versions of fun. I'm not saying you have to be perfectly similar to your partner, but these are the type of things when you hold back on sleeping with someone first and you explore what they're like and you try and learn them first, these are the type of things you realize before sleeping with them that you can say to yourself, oh, yeah, we are a match and we can go further along because as I'm learning you, I feel like we work together. Or as you're learning them, you say, oh, we're not really a match. We don't really work together. This isn't really a vibe. And you're also a lot more clear on that because you don't have sex to cloud your judgment. This is the problem with sex as well. See, the only reason you're saying he has a good heart and he's a good man and he's a genuine person is because you're having sex with him. That's the reality of the situation. That's why you're convincing yourself that, but it's this, and I don't want to leave because we have a vibe, and I don't want to leave because it's hard, and you don't want to leave because you have sex to him and you're attached to him. But if you were void of that experience and you only had to go off of what you've experienced with him in a non-sexual way, you would be very clear on the fact that this isn't the guy you're looking for. And you still, even still with that, you have that answer. And you said it yourself, he's not your husband. And if you're dating a guy or seeing a guy or sleeping with a guy who you don't consider to be your husband, you are wasting time, which is a cardinal sin in the Players Club. Wasting your own time is a cardinal sin. Once you come to the realization that a man is not your husband and is not husband material to you, and you can't foresee yourself being in a long-term serious relationship with him, marrying him, and having him be the father of your children, once you get to that point, you immediately stop contacting him, stop messaging him, stop going out with him, stop doing anything with him, because it's pointless. There is no purpose to anything you're doing here anymore. So that's exactly what I want you to do, America's Bride. I want you to stop contacting him. I want you to stop spending time with him. I want you to stop doing anything with him. If you want to have one last conversation with him for closure, just to let him know what's going on, then you can let him know that. But after that, I want you to cut it off and never speak to him again. Not because he's such a bad person or anything like that, but you guys clearly aren't compatible. And like you said for yourself, he's not your husband. And you know that in your heart. Okay. All right, let's go to our next question here. I know we probably have a bunch to do in the free section, so let's do a couple in this section as well. Okay, so let's start off. Did we do this one? Okay, let's start off with this one. This one comes from LP Baby. LP Baby says, "Hi, Tomisin. May I please ask you about real-world experience and technique in the pocket, balancing being bubbly, seductive, and getting him to open up? Any book recommendations on the strategy? How to get a man in a trance, steering the convo, episode 5, the first 8 moves that make him want you more." Okay, 2 books. If you guys want book recommendations that I think are good in terms of understanding people and understanding how to interact with people, 3 books. I'll give you 2 easy ones by 2 different authors. One, The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. That's a good one for you. Simple read, and it'll be more specific to what you're looking to get answers on in terms of seducing people from a more feminine perspective. And then the second book I would advise you to read is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's not as romantically related. It's more in a general sense of understanding how you can interact with people in a way that gets them to do what you want them to do. But it's a great book to understanding how people think and how you get them to respond to certain things in certain ways, how to be suggestive in ways that get people to feel like they like you, but they don't even know why they like you. So the two books, one is The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that one. And the second book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm not sure who that book is by. Someone put in the chat who the author of that book is, but it's a great book. Great book to read about understanding people. Dale Carnegie, right? Dale Carnegie. Great book to read about understanding people and understanding how to kind of like influence them through suggestion and how people work. All right. Good question there. I like that question. Let's go here to some of these other ones that I didn't get a chance. Oh, wait, what? I'm confused. Is this one? Wait, did I miss this? Okay, this one's actually from Missy America. Okay, yeah, this one's actually from Missy America. All right, let's read Missy America's. Missy America says, connection. How do you define a connection for a man? That feels very connected to a woman, and he will want to go all in. I know at least one other person besides me wants to know. You teach us how to hook a guy, but how do we keep stability? I think you meant to say, how do we keep it stable after getting the guy? Inquiring minds want to know. I'm actually working on a show and scripting a whole show out on how to keep your man in love with you forever. So I won't give away all the secrets of that show because that show is going to be dropping this week, okay? And it's going to be a secret show. We're not going to do a stream of it. It's just going to drop one random day. So you got to make sure you're in the Discord when that show drops. Might be the next one I do. Might shoot it tomorrow. But I will say it's a combination of understanding how to give enough so that you are present in his life and he wants your presence and he appreciates it, but also understand how to take away in a way that is sustainable. So what I mean by that is obviously when you're in a relationship with a guy, you're not going to go ghost on him for 6 days, but understanding how to do that while in a relationship in ways that's healthy and makes sense is good to keeping a man desiring you long term. And it's just something that you're going to have to understand how to do and understand how to manage because relationships will not work out if you think that it stops when you become husband and wife or girlfriend and boyfriend, and you think that you should stop doing things to help him desire you more just because you become husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. So to answer it generally, it's about understanding how to create a rhythm where he has love for you, he sees you, he spends time with you, but also having at least some points where he's not getting as much as he wants from you. That way he can go back to desiring you and go back up the mountain again afterwards. Okay. Right. Lauren said it never stops. It never stops. So Missy America, that show will be coming this week and I'll explain that in detail and I'll drop it in the Discord when I do drop that show because I know a lot of you have been asking me that question about how to sustain it after you get the guy. So I want to save all of that detail for that show. Okay. Let's hop into our next question. Okay. This one comes from Sis. All right. So Sis says, hey, Tomisin, thank you so much for your wisdom. I don't know if you'll be able to help because this is a very difficult situation. My boyfriend has prepared 1 million Valentine's gifts for February 14th and wants me to accept them, bring them home. But I know my parents will force me to return them to him because I live under their roof and have to do what they say. And then they will give me money to buy whatever he bought me. That's quite strange. Okay. My parents met him last week. He made a huge effort. Got them dessert and each a $500 perfume from Creed. He was very nice and sweet. My dad said he seems like a nice, loyal guy, but that his IQ is too low for me. Damn. And he is too money focused while our family is education focused. I told him education is not my priority in a guy. Okay, that's not that. Okay. I get it. You were just saying what you feel, but that's trust me, that's not the answer that your dad wants to hear. Okay, but let's go on. My mom is racist, so she literally felt sick after hearing his accent. He is Palestinian, so he has the accent that Muslims have and lower class citizens in Lebanon have. So she immediately judged him and didn't even give him a chance. I'm so disgusted by the way my mom left the room in the middle of the dinner, and it was so extremely rude. I spent the day crying in secret because of how bad I felt for him. Mom and dad both agreed he wasn't a good fit for me, but I know he is. Though what dad said was logical, he doesn't get to choose what I want in a partner. My mom was completely illogical and just racist. They made me return the perfumes he got them and telling me to slowly back away from him. I know one thing about my mom is that she hates guys that are good people and likes mean guys. That's okay. Even when dad is nice to her, she gets angry at him. But when he is mean to her, she finds it funny. She also tried to push my sister towards dating a Lebanese boy that tried to R-word her because she thinks it was just hormones and he really likes her. But she hates the American guy she is dating who adores her. Maybe because grandpa cheated on grandma and her brother was mean and she saw a dude R-word her cousin once, she has completely skewed thought process on men. Anyways, my dad said he won't disown me if I do marry him, but that he thinks I will be bored with him. Okay, that's fine. If that's how he feels, it's not his life. So who cares if he thinks you'll be bored? My mom is completely and utterly disgusted with him. So I made him seem mean to my mom. Like I told her stuff like he's definitely not gonna want me after the way you treated him, etc. And it kind of worked a bit. That's what you're saying is very weird. It's very weird. But I will say that on the happy side, as long as your dad adopts this mentality that he's not going to disown you for marrying him, that's all you need. Because for the most part, your mom is going to fall in line with whatever your dad wants. If he says we ain't disowning her, we ain't shunning her away for who she marries, your mom can be as mad as she wants. She's going to follow the lead of your dad and she'll complain, but ain't nothing going to happen. So I'm just saying that to say, as long as that is the mentality he's adopting as your dad, that he's not going to, I know it's not ideal, but life's not going to be perfect, okay? So you get to at least still marry who you want to marry. If he thinks you'll be bored and that's what he says to that, so be it, okay? I'm not saying it's okay for your mom to feel that way or be racist or anything like that, but it's not like anything's going to be done. She'll complain, and nothing's going to change, okay? She still hated him a bit, but hated him less. Okay. My other plan I was thinking of is in 4 years or so, I will reintroduce him so that they forget about him, and I will make him speak in English only. They will love him then. Okay, this is the wrong way to go about this. Because the racism ingrained into their heads, especially my mom's, won't be triggered. I don't want you to have this mentality, okay? Because when you get to a place where your parents have some sort of internal hatred, well, your mom, let's speak on your mom because that's the one you're talking about. If your mom has some sort of internal hatred towards certain ethnicities or backgrounds, you're not going to like convince her otherwise. In fact, you'll waste a lot of time and energy trying to convince her otherwise of what they think of him. You're better off just accepting that how they feel about him is how they feel about him, and it doesn't affect your ability to be happy in a relationship with him. That's the honest truth to it. And as weird as this is going to sound, you're probably just going to have to get to a place where you just stop telling them things and stop sharing certain things with them if that's how they're going to respond. Or you can adopt a mentality where you say, I'm going to share certain things with my dad and only talk to him about things, because while he might say, oh, I don't really like him in particular, he's not adopting the mentality that I never want to meet him. I don't think you like, I'm going to force you to not be with him. I'm going to be racist towards him, right? At least from what you're saying, how your dad is approaching this is manageable. You can work with that. How your mom is approaching it is completely inappropriate. You can't work with that. And you don't even need to. Don't even bother telling her about anything or showing her anything that's happening. Just leave her in the dark. That's my advice, honestly. However, I studied facts about face recognition, and if they do see the Valentine's Day gifts and are reminded of him, it'll make his face harder to forget. Sure. Do you have any advice for me? My advice is don't try and please your mom. Don't bother. I don't want to make this deeper than it has to be, but moms and their daughters can have a very interesting relationship. I'll just put it like this. You have to understand that your mom is a human being as well. And you have to understand that even before your mom was with your dad, she had her own desires, and I'm sure she dated people before your dad. What you don't realize sometimes as a daughter that your mother could be reflecting to you things that she never got to experience herself. And because she may have never gotten to experience certain things or get certain things or receive certain things from men in her life, she is a little bit jealous of what she sees you experiencing. So let me just give you a little bit of a breakdown. I'm not saying this is necessarily true for you, but let me just give you a little bit of a breakdown. For example, right? If let's say your mom is in a situation where with her dad and every other guy that she essentially dated, she never really got that over the top treatment. She never got that princess treatment. She was always put on the back burner. She had to beg. She had to crawl. All the guys were mean to her. All the guys were rude to her. And even with your dad now, let's just say for the sake of example, she really had to beg to even get him to want to be in a relationship with her. You have to understand, like, that's ingrained in her now. And you're now her daughter. And she's seeing you with a guy who's willing to fly you out places, take you in helicopters, buy you roses, buy you perfume, take you out, take you here, get you steak, feed you, do all these amazing things for you. You might think to yourself, my mom would be so happy for me. She would love this for me, and she would love to see me get treated like this. But you forget that your mom is also a human being. And the same way you can have girlfriends who are jealous of you and jealous of the treatment they see you receiving from a man is the same way your mom can also be jealous of you. It might seem very weird and strange because you're like, I'm her daughter. How can she be jealous of me? She made me. She created me. Trust me, it happens. Sometimes we forget that our parents are also human beings with their own experience. And it's very painful to feel like I created that person and they get treated by men so much better than I ever got treated. What is wrong with me? It's not like I look that much different. It's not like, my vibe is that much different. I raised her. The only reason you think she's amazing is because of me. So they feel like if a man is willing to treat you like that, and I raised you, I made your personality, I made you look like that, I took care of you, you don't even look good because of anything other than me, right? They feel like if you are getting that from men, I deserve that treatment from men. It's very strange. But that can also create a lot of hatred within your mom. I'm not saying that may or may not necessarily be your situation, but it's just something to think about, right? Because you don't really know everything that your mom's been through in her dating experience, right? Before she met your dad. And you don't even know the extent of what she's went through in her relationship with your dad. So this may be feeding into her psyche of why she also has an extra piece of vitriol for this man, right? Seeing especially him treat you really, really, really well. That's not going to feel good if she's felt like her entire life she's been treated really badly by men. Okay. Should I accept the Valentine's Day gift and be forced to return them to him, or should I hide them? Or should I try to convince him to not put them on my front door, even though he is stubborn as F and I don't think he will listen? Just let him do what he feels like doing for you. I never want you to discourage men from, getting you gifts and doing nice things for you. Don't discourage him from doing that. Let him keep doing that. Your parents tell you return the thing, just tell them, oh yeah, I'll do it, and don't do it. Okay? At some point, you just have to realize you can't argue with people on what they think is best for your life. Especially with parents, you kind of have to adopt the mentality that I'll just tell you yes to tell you what you want to hear, and I'm going to do what I want to do anyways. It's easier as long as you're living under their roof. It's just easier to work that way. Just do, oh yeah, I'll return it. Yeah, and then just hide it. Whatever. Okay, you're only going to be living there for a couple more years until you graduate anyways. He told me he put something so much effort into the gifts and flowers, and there are too many to hide. Never discourage a man from doing nice things for you. It's not good. Do you think my idea of reintroducing him to them in a few years is a good idea? Sure, I don't think much will change though, because I don't think it's about you or anything you're doing or he's doing. It's about your mom's own internal hatred for certain types of people based on her own traumas and experiences. And then same thing with your dad. I don't think your dad hates the guy. I just think he probably just thinks he's not the guy you should be with, which is not really relevant to you, right? You're your own person. I'm 100% sure it's racism because before she heard him talk, she was saying that we would have pretty babies because we're both attractive, etc. And they even agreed that it was racism. And if he had a different accent, mom would have had a different reaction. Also, he forgot to tell them that he is also a pilot. Wait, what? He told them that he was a college dropout and business owner, which is the opposite of what they want from me. My parents are strict and I will lose all my freedom if they know I'm still seeing them. I think you might say seeing him. And I don't want that. I also don't want to not appreciate all the effort my boyfriend put into Valentine's and all the effort into hiding the gifts he's getting. And hiding the gifts that he's getting from me. From his strict dad and be forced to return the gifts to him like my sister was forced to return the Dyson. Her boyfriend got her back to him. Then my parents bought her one, so I don't know what to do. Just tell your parents you'll return it and don't return it. Just hide it from them. That's all. Very simple. Because these type of situations, you can't win. I also don't want you to discourage the guy that you're dating from doing nice things for you because you're getting him out of the mindset of thinking about you and how to do more for you. Don't do that. Let your parents be happy by thinking you're doing what they want. Don't talk to them about any gifts he's getting you. Don't talk to them about anything he's doing for you. If he drops something off at your house or anything like that, and they say, hey, you got to return that, tell them, yep. Yes, dad. Yes, mom. I'll return it right away. And then just go ahead and hide it in your room or whatever the case may be. If they find out about it, just make up some story. Like you just have to adopt the mindset that your parents are never going to be satisfied unless they get what they want. So arguing with them is pointless. Just continue to tell them yes, that you're going to do the thing that they asked you to do. That way they can get off your back. And then if they catch you, just give them an excuse and make something up. I really mean that because at a certain point, you just have to understand it really doesn't matter what your parents think. It doesn't matter what they want, right? It really doesn't. And as long as you're not doing anything inappropriate, right? The likelihood that they're just going to throw you out of the house, especially if your dad is not, if your dad was the racist one, I would be a little bit more worried just because that can take a little bit of an extreme because obviously he's the head of the house. So it's harder for your mom to, say, hey, don't do this, don't do that if he's really set on something. But as long as your dad is not adopting that mentality, I don't foresee it being more of a problem than simply your mom just complaining. And as long as your mom's just going to complain, but nothing's going to be done about it in terms of like kicking you out or saying we won't pay for your school or something like that, then just let your mom complain, honestly. I know it sounds very weird and I know it sounds very like dismissive, but if your mom's going to keep complaining about your life and what you're doing or not doing with your life, just let her complain. At a certain point, you just have to realize it doesn't matter. Like, she can hate on you all she wants. She can tell you why this is wrong and that is wrong and blah, 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 blah. Just be like, yep, yes, mom, yep, 100%, and do what you want to do anyways. At some point down the line, in a couple of years, you'll be out of the house. You'll be either living on your own or maybe you'll be married. And none of what she says to you will matter at all. Trust me. Don't alter or change your life to make her more satisfied because when you're going out into your life and she's gone or you're alone or you're an adult, you're going to be thinking about how happy you are, not how happy your mom is for your own life. Okay. Someone said, how old is she? I believe sis is 21 or 22. She's finishing med school. So she's like in her early 20s. Let's hop into our next question here. Let's just see if we can do one more. Oh, this is really long. Okay. Let's see if we can do one that's like a little bit shorter. Is this shorter? Okay, this one's a little bit shorter. Don't worry, RKK. I'll come back to yours. I just want to do one a little bit shorter, okay? So Lilith says, hi, Tomisin. First, I've got to say thank you for everything we've all learned from you. You're truly a gift. You're bringing so much good into the world. Your mom must be so proud of you. Thank you. Anyways, there is a guy at my gym I have been interested in. He approached me once and asked for my Instagram. But since I'm not on social media, I told him I didn't have one. Then he asked for my number, and for some reason, I said I don't have that either. What do you expect him to think when you say that? I don't even know why I said that, but I've always had some avoidant tendencies. He apologized and left right after, probably because it came across as ultimate rejection. 100%, 1000%. He asked you for Instagram. You said, I don't have one. You asked him, he asked you for your number. You said you don't have one, when he probably, if you guys go to the same gym, he's been seeing you. He's been seeing you listening to music and seeing you on your phone. That's quite literally, there's no greater rejection than saying that. Not sure how anyone would take that differently. We never talked before or since, but he used to stare at me a lot. Yeah, probably because he was thinking about coming up to you. Then he did, and he realized you don't want him at all. After that interaction, though, he doesn't do it as often. Why? Wait. Are you confused why he's acting like this? Any man with self-respect would respond like this. If you reject him to the point where it's clear you don't want anything to do with him, why would he continue to stare at you and look at you and try and interact with you? It makes no sense. Do you want a stalker? Like, no logical, sane person would respond by continuing to try and be around you or interact with you. Do you think that means he's a healthy guy who respects boundaries? Yeah. And he also has self-respect himself. Or does it point to a fragile ego? What is fragile about? Okay. Let's turn this around. Let's say you come up to me and I'm literally like this. I'm typing away on my phone and you're like, hey, I think you're cute. And I'm like, yeah. And you're like, hey, do you think, I could follow you on Instagram? Maybe we could chat. Nah. Do you think maybe I could get your number? Maybe we could text or something, just be friends, talk about the gym? No, I don't have a phone. Hello? Yeah, I'm just talking. Yeah, there's just this loser in my face asking me for my, something stupid like that. Yeah, I told him I don't have a phone. Really stupid. I can't believe this peasant's even talking to me. Ask me, after an interaction like that, would you try and come up to me and have another conversation? Would you try again a different day? Would you look at me to maybe think about how you're going to adjust your approach for the future? Or would you get it out of your mind that there's no point to even talking to me or interacting with me ever again? Answer me that question. Once you answer that question for yourself, then you have the answer to why he's no longer speaking to you or even looking in your direction. I've always thought that people who handle rejection this way tend to have a healthier self-image, but I could be wrong. Yeah, people with self-respect, they respond this way. This is a natural way to respond. The thing is, I don't know anything about him except that he's good looking and drives a nice car. Okay. Also, how do I get his attention without making it up? The ship has sailed. Just gonna be honest with you. Do you think he might try again after that rejection? Probably not, to be super real with you. Or should I give him a subtle smile if we make eye contact at the gym? No. And I can't wait for your spiritual channel. When will it be ready? I have a lot to do on this channel, so I have to cook up a few more things on this one. But thank you for that question. Reminded me. I haven't seen him in almost a month since I switched to working out in the early morning. But I'm not going to change my schedule just to run into him not even for one day, even though I can. He put two and two together or ask around if he wants to see me again. I think the ship has sailed, honestly, just being real with you. I wasn't flexing when I said I have avoidant tendencies. It actually causes problems for me. I know some women might find it appealing. Some women might find it appealing, but it's really not. I think it comes down to my fragile ego, because no matter how much a guy invests in me, I can't shake the feeling that he's never supposed to have me. The idea that someone thinking I'm theirs just doesn't sit right, even if it was a husband. Okay, that's a whole different type of avoidance, but okay. I've realized I naturally do a lot of things you mention in your shows without even thinking about it. But the way I operate feels unhealthy. See, there's too much of anything is possible. And I think that you're suffering a little bit from too much of trying to be so unavailable that guys don't even think you're interested, which doesn't help you at all. I only find peace in solitude and hobbies, but never with people. And sometimes things get toxic. And my life has basically become a cycle of ghosting people and running away. Do you think that's okay? Why would I think that's okay? So, okay, let me answer this question holistically. First of all, don't bother going up to him. Don't bother talking to him again. That ship has sailed. Once you do that, that way, most healthy guys with self-respect will never approach you ever again. So your only option after that really is to approach him and be the one kind of driving the relationship forward. Unfortunately, once you make that mistake after he approaches you the first time, the ship is done. Because you're never going to get a chance to be the one allowing him to lead. The only way you're going to talk to him after that is by leading yourself, right? I just don't see, if you actually thought he was interesting, I don't understand why you would respond that way. So when we're talking about avoidance, you're doing the opposite. So when we talk about black cat energy and things like that, I even made a whole video where I talked about black cat energy mistakes, because in the process of embodying your black cat energy, you might miss part of the most important part of attracting men, which is also allowing them to feel like they're progressing with you and feeling like you actually have some interest in them. It's not about worshiping them or putting them on a pedestal, but you have to make men feel like they're getting somewhere. If you just make them feel like you literally don't care about them or like them at all, you're going to have the opposite effect, where men are going to say, I'm not going to even bother wasting my time with you because it's pointless. You don't want to date me. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want to have a conversation with me. You literally look at me as a hindrance. Why would guys want to be around women that make them feel like a hindrance? Men aren't self-loathing. Obviously they want to chase, they want to pursue, they want to progress, but they're not self-loathing. They don't want you to hate them and feel like you hate them constantly. So the reason I say that is because just get it out of your mind that even is going to be a thing with that guy anymore. And honestly, you're going to continue suffering from that same reality in your relationships if you continue operating like that. Nothing wrong with giving men a challenge, but you also have to understand how to let them progress over time. You can't make it seem like I have no interest in you and I just don't want you at all. They're not supposed to be begging. They're not supposed to be saying, oh, despite the fact you don't like me, don't want to talk to me, I'm still going to continue to ask you day over day over day about whether or not you want to be with me. That's not even the type of guy you would be wanting to attract. You want to attract healthy men that are in their masculine, willing to actually pursue you. So you're going to have to, Lilith, you're going to have to rethink a little bit of how you approach relationships, because nothing wrong with being a little bit of a challenge and being unavailable to men. But there is a balance there if you're going to expect those men to continue to pursue you. Because what you're going to find is majority of men will just give up on you after a while of not getting anywhere with you. And I'm not talking about getting anywhere with you in the sense of sleeping with you. I just mean even feeling like there's any sort of mutual interest at all. You can play a game and be flirtatious. That's a totally different thing. But if you're not flirtatious, you're not making him feel any sort of energy towards you like you're interested in him, why do you expect guys to continue trying to pursue you? It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Okay? So I'm not going to say it's a problem, but it's a problem for you if you want success in relationships and you want guys to actually pursue you. then it's a problem that you're going to have to reconsider. All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you who have a question for me, whether it be in our free section, our premium section, or our private relationship advice section, you can always ask me a question by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube and ask your question one of those many ways. For those of you who are watching the show and you want to follow me on Instagram, if you're watching on TikTok, my Instagram is just above my head on the top left corner of the screen. It's my name, Tomisin_Atub, and it's also in the description there down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Let me answer a couple. Nadine donated $5 in the YouTube chat, just a super sticker. And Small TV donated $7 in the YouTube chat. She said, bingo. I think you were referring to when I was talking about the mom and the mom, having a little bit of jealousy towards the daughter, right? So that happens a lot. Thank you guys for all your donations. I know some of you donated as well on TikTok. I know GoPlan, she an extra generous donator. So I appreciate you all. For those of you who are watching the show on TikTok, I'm going to leave this show up in its entirety for you guys to watch. It's going to be available on my YouTube channel. So just go up to my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Tomisin Atobatele. You can just type in my first name, Tomisin. Go to my YouTube channel, go to the live section of my YouTube channel. You'll be able to see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll get the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video, so you won't miss a second of conversation, okay? I'm here again on Thursday. So every Monday and Thursday is the show times now. So until we meet again on Thursday, I bid you adieu, arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, bounty, ciao, salam, bon voyage. And I'll see you on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll be posting on YouTube in between then. Probably Missy America's show about how to keep your man interested in you forever. That's going to be the show that I'm going to post in between then. So make sure you're in our Discord, so you know exactly when that drops. Okay. I love you so much. I'll see you on Thursday. Bye.